CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hello, good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Thursday, June 25th. Well, today's the day where things are kind of changing. We've got some clouds rolling in, a chance of showers this afternoon, and periods of rain coming at us tonight. Right now, though, just partly cloudy and sitting at 16 degrees. We'll get a full forecast your way in just a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. Police across this province issuing another warning to riders of e-scooters and e-dirt bikes after a number of teens were seriously injured this past week. Nanaimo RCMP say a panel van and a 15-year-old on a scooter collided at the intersection of Metro Drive and Bergen Op Zoom Drive. This week, the driver remained at the scene cooperating with the investigation. The driver of the vehicle was issued a ticket for failing to yield. The teen was given a ticket for failing to wear a helmet and operating the e-scooter while under the minimum age of 16. Meanwhile, across the pond on the mainland, Burnaby police say a 15-year-old was hospitalized after crashing into another vehicle that was on the Barnett Highway on Tuesday. That was a day after a 13-year-old on an e-scooter in Maple Ridge was taken to hospital. Police in Abbotsford in the Fraser Valley say two teens were caught riding in dirt bike e-bikes recklessly on June 15th, weaving in and out of traffic and reaching speeds of 55 kilometers an hour before they were caught. Police say BC Children's Hospitals reported 81 e-scooter-related visits to its ER department between April of last year and this past March. That is more than double the 37 visits reported in the previous year. This is more and more of these vehicles become available. You have to be 16 to ride these and older, and you also have to wear the proper gear. The mandatory piece of equipment is a helmet. The U.S. Coast Guard helicopter crew from Port Angeles helped evacuate an injured 33-year-old female hiker from Mount Larrabee in Washington's Mount Baker Wilderness on the weekend. The woman fell 120 feet into a steep gully, and she could not descend any further due to the extent of her injuries. The hiker was hoisted up, transported to Bellingham Airport before dark when emergency medical services were waiting for her. Victoria City Council talking about the R word again, discussing the idea of a non-binding referendum on amalgamation at tonight's meeting. Saanich made it official in a news release that they will be conducting a non-binding vote in October. The question on the ballot is always that simple one. Do you support Saanich and Victoria becoming one municipality? A citizen assembly has been working towards the idea. However, the BC government is opposed to a binding referendum on the issue. A group of economists are raising the alarm what they call data quality crisis in this country. Desjardins, in a new report today, says the Data Stats Canada reports is less reliable than usual and subject to bigger revisions. Deputy Chief Economist Randall Bartlett says he's worried data collection could get worse as the federal government pressures the agency to find cost savings in the coming years.
Not necessarily just finding savings at Statistics Canada, but ensuring that they have adequate resources, tools, and direction to ensure that they're being efficient, but providing the best possible output that they can.
A spokesperson for Stats Canada says it's normal to expect volatile data in periods of economic upheaval, but adds those fluctuations should smooth out over time. The Canadian dollar has steadily fallen over the past several weeks to trade around 70 cents U.S., down about 4 cents since the month of May. Sarah Ying of CIBC Capital Markets says a slow Canadian economy against a stronger U.S. economy is weighing on our loonie.
The Canadian economy is doing better. There's green shoots here, but it's not enough to become visible in a world where there's a lot of economic tailwinds going for the U.S. side.
Ying expects the loonie to continue to weaken over the next couple of months before finally starting to recover. And a gun control group is repeating its call to end the sales of SKS rifles after this week's deadly shooting in Montreal.
Police have not identified the long gun that killed a police officer and a civilian bystander on Monday. Images online, however, indicate the weapon appears to be an SKS. The group Police se souvient is urging the federal Liberals halt new sales of the rifle. Since May 2020, Ottawa has outlawed about 2,500 firearms on the basis they belong only on the battlefield, but hasn't included the SKS. The rifle is commonly used by Indigenous communities for hunting. It also has been used in police killings and other high-profile shootings in recent years. Ottawa says it is reviewing Canada's firearms classification regime. Aaron Sousa, The Canadian Press.
That's your CFAX News to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking, should municipally funded medical clinics be solely for the use of residents in that community? 64% say yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 6:06.
Thanks, Lisa. We got the winds of change blowing.
I know.
I'm being very literal with that.
It's a chill in the air, too, a little bit.
The winds are blowing, and they're bringing change. We've got a increasingly cloudy day. We've got some rain by the end of it, and we'll get to the full forecast in a moment. Right now, though, it's dry. We got just partly cloudy skies, bit of a cooler breeze blowing, and 16 degrees. Well, let's talk about that soccer game and the whole World Cup with our World Cup report.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. It was a Swiss miss for Canada's hopes of remaining at home for the knockout round of the World Cup. Switzerland scored twice early in the second half and held on to defeat Canada 2-1 to clinch first place in Group B. Promise David came off the bench to score in the 76th minute to get Canada back in it, but they could not find the equalizer. So Canada now heads to LA, where it will play South Africa Sunday afternoon in its first knockout stage game.
Probably going to be an away crowd, and it'll be a little bit tougher, but we still want to electrify our country and play really well down there and go after it still. We're exactly where we want to be. We finished second in the group. We're in the knockout phase, and now let's go for it.
Canadian coach Jesse Marsh says Alphonso Davies will be ready to play in that game. South Africa advanced to the knockout round for the first time ever with a 1-0 upset win over South Korea. South Africa is ranked 60th in the world, 35 places worse than the Koreans. Mexico won Group A, clinching with a 3-0 win over Czechia. Bosnia advanced with a 3-1 win over Qatar. Brazil got Neymar back and beat Scotland 3-0. Morocco got second behind Brazil in Group C by doubling Haiti 4-2. 6 more final group stage games today. The Netherlands can clinch first in Group F with a victory over Tunisia, and the U.S. can finish 3-0 with a win over Turkey tonight. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
There you go, your World Cup report and a quick look at some other sports. The Nanaimo Night Owls beat the Victoria Harper Cats 8-3. That's some local baseball for you. So that means Nanaimo ties this 3-game island series after Victoria took the first game. The series will come to an end tomorrow night, going back to Nanaimo after last night's game was at Royal Athletic Park, Wilson's Group Stadium. And then after this little island series is done, we've got the Harper Cats engaging with the Bellingham Bells for a weekend series again in Victoria. And CFL action, Edmonton Elks started the CFL season with 2 wins. Could they make it 3 for the first time since 2017 when they visit the Winnipeg Blue Bombers tonight? The Blue Bombers have a win and a loss in the West Division. Winnipeg's defense will try to shut down Edmonton running back Justin Rankin, who leads the league in rushing yards with 281. That's your CFAX Sports to 6:09. Hey, good morning. It's 6:10. Let's take a look at CFAX traffic and weather. Things are pretty typical right now for traffic. No crashes, no major congestion built up yet on major routes. Malahat looks good. Pat Bay Highway looks good. Trans-Canada Highway and the Sooke Road Island Highway routes into town all looking fairly clear right now with not much in the way of anything happening on them. You can text me at 71010 if you see otherwise. For BC Ferries, the next boat out is the 7 o'clock sailing. We've just seen the 6 o'clock depart, and the 7 o'clock still has lots of room left, lots of vehicle deck space. For the weather forecast, there's lots happening here, too, so let's get into the weather. Increasing clouds over the course of the day. Once we hit about afternoon, that's where we first see our chances of showers showing up. It's breezy all morning. We've had a lot of wind overnight. A little bit cool. Compared to the humidity we've had for the last few days, feeling these cool breezes blowing is a change for sure. And we're going to see a few of those still blowing this morning. And then we move into the chance of showers in the afternoon. Tonight, we'll still see some periods of rain really kicking off. Lows down to 12. And those periods of rain will be with us tomorrow, but then ending sometime into the afternoon. And Friday evening and into the weekend, we should be drying up. But some rain for tonight and into the day tomorrow is what you can expect with overcast skies, but dry on the weekend. Let's talk temperatures, because today is going to be a high of about 21, a little cooler by the water, lows of 12 overnight tonight. Tomorrow the highs are 18, and then they stay kind of around there, the high teens, maybe up to 20, but sort of in that range for Saturday and Sunday. And right now in Victoria, the temperatures in Langford are about 11 degrees. In Oak Bay by the water, it's 12. On the markets, opening bells will ring later this hour, so let's check out how yesterday closed with Aaron Sousa.
Canada's main stock index dipped yesterday. Toronto's S&P TSX lost 191 to 34,736. In New York, the Dow climbed by 182 and the Nasdaq slipped by 110. In Tokyo this morning, the Nikkei surged almost 3,200 points to a record close. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong, however, lost 335. Our dollar is trading at 70 and 29 cents US. The loonie has been sliding for weeks as it finds itself caught between a weak domestic economy and a strong U.S. dollar. Experts expect a rebound later this year. Economists say Canada is facing a data quality crisis. Desjardins says Statistics Canada has been leaning more on projections over hard data. One expert worries about the future of Canadian data collecting as Ottawa looks to rein in spending. And south of the border, a candidate for U.S. Senate has made Canada's new Michigan Bridge an election issue. Democrat Mallory McMorrow has accused President Donald Trump of blocking its opening for financial reasons. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Good morning. Welcome to Thursday. We got Lisa on the news desk. I'm Ryan. So glad you can join us and make CFAX a part of your morning as we kick the day off. Lisa, how you doing?
I'm good. It's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
And the weather's changing.
Weather's changing, although I'm not offended by a bit of rain. I'm glad to see it, and I'm glad it doesn't stick around too long.
Notice the leaves are starting to droop a little bit.
Yeah, and all the grass is looking kind of brown, and it's not bad to get a bit of rain. It's just periods of rain coming at us kind of later today and through the bulk of tomorrow, but by Friday evening, it should even be drying up. At least that's what the forecast looks like right now.
This is what we want to hear. A little sunshine for the weekend.
And I don't know about you, but we love to complain about whatever weather we have. So we've had some lovely.
We love to talk about it.
That's true.
It's always a topic of discussion.
Because we've had this lovely, warm, sunny stuff for the last few days, but even then you find reasons to complain. It did stay quite warm overnight for the last few nights, and I know my oldest child was complaining about how it was hard to sleep because it was too hot. It's too hot at night.
Fix it, Dad.
Yeah. So he's happy.
I love that as a parent. Why aren't you fixing this for me? It's like, well, honey, I'm not God.
Yeah. Speaking of children, final days of school continue. We've got a number of children out there.
How's the teen spirit going? Already
done. My high schooler had his last day yesterday. Mm-hmm. I understand that it's very different depending on which school district you're in and which school you're in. It's kind of different this week, but every day it's a new round of, hey, you had your last day of school.
Is he at the point where he's trying to juggle his school life with his social life? He's sort of developing that social life
Oh,
now?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly, yeah.
All right.
And now the summer is awaiting. And then I've got a middle schooler who's not done yet. Today's his last day. So we had celebrating a last day yesterday. We'll celebrate another last day today as school winds up.
Much cake and happiness.
So much happiness.
Well, for them, it's such a big deal.
I know, it is,
And they
yeah.
have these mini graduations now. I don't know, what do they call them? Do we have that? We don't call them graduations, but it seems every grade they have this, hey, you made it. And I think it's a nice celebration to have. When I went through school, it's like, here you go. Here's your diploma. You're on your way. Now, the bigger deal is made about it for kids, and I think it's good. They look forward to that rite of passage. It's something exciting for them.
Well, congratulations. Anybody out there who has a school-aged child, or maybe you're listening and you are a school-aged child, congratulations on making it through the year. Have a wonderful summer, which is really kicking off for school kids all around Greater Victoria as of this week on various days. 6:16, let's get over to the headlines with Lisa.
Across the pond, dredging of Vancouver's Broad Inlet will go ahead, making room for larger oil tankers loading up from the Trans Mountain Pipeline. The Vancouver Fraser Port Authority says it got the required federal permits for dredging along the navigation channel underneath Vancouver's Second Narrows Bridge. The work is scheduled to begin in September. The Port Authority said it needs it to be done so that the larger ships, which currently can only load about 80% to clear the inlet, can actually take on more. To Venezuela now, where rescue teams are rushing to reach the hardest hit areas of that country to free people trapped under rubble following two powerful earthquakes yesterday, a 7.2 and a 7.5 magnitude back to back. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez says at least 160 people have died and close to 1,000 injured. The many countries sending out search and rescue teams, medical resources, and humanitarian assistance to the South American country. And several Canadian news and cultural groups are demanding clarity and taking questions to Ottawa following the new $2.3 billion national AI strategy. They're concerned over Ottawa completely omitting the word copyright from the 50-page document. They're asking the government to take a stand on how AI systems use copyrighted content. The groups are urging the government to reject any legal exemptions that would allow AI firms to train their models or copyrighted content without permission or compensation. The policy gap comes amid intensifying legal friction as a coalition of major Canadian news outlets has launched a lawsuit against OpenAI over unauthorized data scraping. And that is your headline news to 6:17.
Okay, let's get to it. Let's talk about the Canada-Switzerland game at the World Cup of Soccer taking place at BC Place Stadium yesterday. I want to go over some of our feelings in just a few moments. If you want to join in the feelings, text us at 71010. We're going to have that conversation in just a moment. Also, sports guy Steve will join us a little later in the show as well, because I'm very curious to ask him about a few things, but we'll get to that in just a sec.
He said it was either going to be Happy Steve or Grumpy Steve. Maybe there's a silver lining.
Is it silver lining, Steve?
Yeah, okay.
Silver lining, sports guy Steve. I'm hoping for that one. We're going to get into that later. But first, your thoughts, if you want to share them at 71010. I do have a text here at 71010 about the end of school, which is this week for a lot of our Greater Victoria and Sault School District and Peninsula School District, all of them. Anyways, this texter says, students didn't do anything for the last 2 weeks anyways.
Well, they're kind of like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel or the horse to the barn or whatever analogy you want to use. It's hard to keep that contained.
What's the current version of the teacher wheeling the trolley with the TV and the VCR into the classroom? Did you have that?
Yeah. We got movies.
Yeah, so there was movie day, right? They'd have to get the trolley, the little cart that had the TV and the VCR. What's the equivalent of that today? Because I'm sure they don't do that.
Don't we just dial it up on our phone now? I don't know.
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I
just remember, being taken to the theater and they'd play Wuthering Heights, the old version or something. I'd just fall asleep.
Yeah.
That was great.
How do they work movie days nowadays? Anyways, Texter, thank you very much for weighing in. But we'll talk soccer next. Let's talk CFAX 1070 traffic and weather, shall we? No problems on the roads right now. 7-10-10. If you see anything, send me a text. See a crash, see something unusual, or maybe you see something unusually good. Maybe traffic's just flowing brilliantly, which is kind of what it looks like right now. Let me know if I'm right. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits. For the weather forecast, we are looking at increasing cloudiness today. We'll see a chance of showers by this afternoon, and then periods of rain overnight tonight and into Friday. Kind of for the first part of our Friday, we'll see periods of rain easing up later into the day Friday. The weekend dries up. Saturday, Sunday are partially overcast. Might see peaks of the sun here and there, but expecting some cloud and just cooler temperatures for the next few days. It's going to be highs around 18 degrees, 20 degrees, sort of in that range, rather than the really warm, muggy stuff we've had for the last few days. So the change is here, and we're actually feeling the wind still this morning. It's a bit breezy off the Wandafuka Strait. That's going to continue this morning as well as that weather pattern changes. Right now, the temperatures in Victoria, the official one, is 15 degrees at the Victoria International Airport. It's 12 degrees in Colwood.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
I went to the game last week. This was kind of the polar opposite. It felt very, very painful in a lot of ways, I got to say. I was telling my friend here, I almost would have preferred getting blown out because we were so close to tying it at the end, but we just couldn't make it happen. Yeah, it's brutal, soul-crushing, really.
We got to keep expectations realistic. Canada progressing at a World Cup through the group stages, scoring 6 goals in a game. I mean, this is a good tournament for us.
When the guy hit it with his head and it almost went in, but then the goalie caught it so easily, it was like, my heart was a little bit broken. I got nothing, man. What can I say? The ball almost went in, it didn't go in. It was very exciting.
For a Swiss Canadian, there's no losers today. I would have been happy with either team winning, but I have to say I'm really thrilled for my Swiss national team.
Those are some of the opinions being expressed after the game at the stadium yesterday as Canada lost 2-1 to Switzerland, but still moved on for the first time in its history at a group stage at a World Cup. So
civilized that way. You can lose and you can still move forward.
So that's what happened yesterday. Feel free to weigh in at 7-10-10 if you have thoughts on how things went, because there's a ton of things to discuss here. One is just the game itself yesterday, but the other thing that happened later, this is the other remarkable thing, is at the end of yesterday's game, we didn't know who we would play when we moved on. We did know that not winning the group yesterday meant Canada went on, but not to BC Place Stadium. We knew we'd have to go to LA for the next game. Still amazing. Canada moves on for the first time in its history at a group stage of the World Cup. So it's good news. Just would have been nice to have it at BC Place Stadium again, have the home field advantage. So we knew that was the path, but the thing we didn't know at the game time yesterday when the game was wrapping up was who we would go and play. That has now been determined.
Our mystery date.
Yeah, our mystery date has been determined, and it's actually kind of an interesting outcome. It's South Africa who will play us at the World Cup. Now, I don't know anything about anything, but from my understanding from people who do know things, this is actually a good result for us. So South Africa beats South Korea 1-0, which was a big surprise because South Africa is ranked way lower in those FIFA rankings. South Korea was the team that I guess would have been expected to be the ones. They were expected to win that game and expected to be the ones Canada played because that's how the matchups would have gone.
Correct.
But South Africa is a lower ranked team. Also, here's the thing. People were saying that in LA, where we're going, there's a huge South Korean community. So it would almost be like that was kind of home field for the South Koreans. There's a huge kind of population there that would be there cheering for that team. That would be kind of the home team feel. Whereas South Africa and Canada, there isn't so much of that in LA. There's no real natural team to cheer for. So it's kind of a neutral ground.
Okay.
So again, Canadian people talking about this, saying that this is actually a good outcome. We've got a team that's a little lower ranked, and we've got neutral ground to play our next game on, which will be Sunday at noon.
It sounds like a lot of silver linings, but we'll take it.
I'm just racking up the silver linings here. What are the positives out of all this?
We don't see another loss. We never know.
Yeah.
But playing in LA while we're still on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah,
and it's also for both teams, for both Canada and South Africa, first time either of these countries have made it out of the group stage at the World Cup.
So they're both sort of like bridesmaids making good here.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
So both teams are worthy.
Yes.
Okay. But Canada's got to win.
Yeah. Texter at 71010 says Canada has never advanced this far,
Yeah.
never scored this many goals, and
Right.
are now in a position to play a team that is seated lower than us in the world rankings. The only disappointment is that the game is not in Vancouver.
Right.
So that's one opinion here at 71010.
But just think of like your local watering hole, the local pubs, all the restaurants that have got the screens up around Victoria. It's going to be heavy appeal here.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to be huddled around TV sets and probably, are we carrying it again? Do we know this yet?
Oh,
we got
should-
the green light yet?
We should double check with boss man Brad. We'll let
Right.
you know as soon as that call's made.
Okay.
But yeah, Sunday is the next game at noon, and I think it's the only game on the schedule too. It's the only
Wow.
World Cup game. Oh,
This is perfect.
and I got one other thing I want to talk about. And again, I gotta ask Steve about this because I don't know the answer to this. But a really interesting
Need Steve.
thing happened. We do need Steve. So Canada's captain Alphonso Davies, right?
Yes.
Do you remember how there was all that talk leading up to yesterday's game that this is when we're going to see him? The coach Jesse Marsh was saying he's going to make an appearance. He might
Yes.
not start, but he's going to make an appearance. He was very definitive about saying that in the news conferences leading up to yesterday's game. But then what happened? We did not see Alphonso Davies.
Correct.
So what gives? The coach Jesse Marsh is now saying he did that as a decoy. He was doing it to try to trick the other side.
psych them out.
To psych them out and make them prepare for the arrival of, it's Canada's best player. He's just been
Correct.
injured, so he hasn't been playing.
So, well, and they're keeping that mystique up. Is he going to be there? Is he not going to be there?
Yeah.
So then looking forward to LA, do we have a definitive answer on that yet?
Well, he's saying it again now.
Oh, okay.
But now it's like, well, you've cried wolf. I don't know. Are we actually going to see Alphonso Davies
now
on
we
Sunday?
probably will if he's got to flip that script.
Maybe. Yeah, but
There's
yeah.
drama on the pitch. I like that.
Exactly. That's the term he used. He was a decoy. He was just psyching out the other team.
Interesting.
So that also happened. Anyways, lots
that's
more to
good.
talk about. That's about the extent of my knowledge about what happened yesterday.
It works. That was pretty solid.
Yeah. And now we'll get Sports Guy Steve, Silver Lining Sports Guy Steve.
What time? What
He's
time's
coming up.
Is he awake yet?
Not
Probably
yet. So we'll call him in the 8 o'clock hour.
Wanna wake him
He's
too
going to join
early.
us. You know what else we're going to do later on the
What's
show?
that?
Sports Guy Steve's coming, but also we're going to play another song that has to do with boots at some point.
Right on.
Because we're giving away Kinky Boots, the musical tickets, all this week. You just got to call in at 250-386-1161 when you hear a song that references boots. Could be any song. It's not necessarily from the musical. When you hear a boots song, get ready to call. Because that opening night, we're giving away tickets to opening night.
Lots of fun.
Is less than 2 weeks away now. It's Tuesday, July 7th.
All right.
All right. Much to come on the show, including the 6:30 news. Next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Downtown Victoria is alive with free soccer-themed events, live match screenings, and more. Details at downtownvictoria.ca. Celebrate summer at the 59th Annual Saanich Strawberry Festival, Sunday, July 5th, 11 to 4 p.m. at Beaver Beach at Beaver Lake Regional Park.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hey, Hey, it's 6:31 on this Thursday, June 25th. The weather's changing today. Some cool winds are blowing. We got some rain by later in the day, and we'll tell you the full forecast in just a moment. Right now, though, let's get to the news, and here is Lisa Best.
Vic PD looking for a suspect in connection with two armed robberies at gas stations this spring. They both happened in April. 42-year-old Andrew Anthony Charles is facing a number of charges. That's Andrew Anthony Charles. Robbery, disguised with intent, and one count of using an imitation firearm during an indictable offense. Vic PD also looking for potential witnesses or any dash cam footage you may have around the Victoria International Airport if you're there on June 20th between the hours of 6 and 8 a.m. Anyone who may have seen a woman waving or flagging down a motorist, no other details released on this, but if that tweaks your memory, give Vic PD a call. A humpback whale found heavily entangled in discarded fishing gear off our island is swimming free again after a coordinated rescue effort involving Canadian military personnel and the federal fisheries officials. The whale, which has been nicknamed Artemis, was first spotted in mid-June in the Strait of Georgia and monitored by authorities for about 3 days before it was finally freed from the last of the ropes. While whale entanglements are not uncommon along our coast, each rescue presents a lot of unique challenges for the crews who have to work very close quarters with the animal on the water in sometimes choppy conditions. Choppy report on our ER system. A new report finds wait times at emergency departments across the country are made even longer by the lack of available spots in long-term care facilities and home care programs.
The report by the Canadian Institute for Health Information says patients who could be discharged to rehab centers, long-term care homes, or home care end up waiting an average of 24 days in hospital inpatient units. The trickle-down effect means other patients who need to be admitted to the hospital are stuck waiting in the emergency department for a bed to become available. Half of admitted patients had waited in the ER for more than 16 hours. 8% of patients admitted to hospital became alternate level of care, meaning they no longer required acute care but couldn't be discharged because there was no appropriate follow-up care ready for them. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
A group of economists raising a warning about what they call data quality crisis in this country. Desjardins says a new report today that the Data Stats Canada report is less reliable because fewer Canadians are answering surveys. And the U.S. tariff dispute is skewing trade data. And Deputy Chief Economist Randall Bartlett says there's consequences for policy making in this country due to this.
There's a real concern that, it becomes garbage in, garbage out, that if the data quality is extremely poor, even so-called evidence-based decisions ultimately could become poor decisions because of the fact that the data that those decisions are based on is of very poor quality.
The consensus estimate among economists and monetary policy makers for the real GDP growth was roughly 1.5% annualized in the first quarter. The Canadian dollar has fallen steadily over the past several weeks, now trading around 70 cents U.S. That's down about 4 cents since May. Carl Shimata, who leads Corpay's currency research group, says the weakness in the loonie is coming from south of the border.
It's essentially being caught in a pincer movement between a slow and weak domestic economy and a U.S. dollar that is crushing all of its global rivals. It's really both forces acting on it at the same time.
Carl says the AI boom is driving more investments to the U.S. as companies turn around higher profits and the U.S. economy performs better than expected, all weighing down on our loonie. That's your news to 6:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question: should municipally funded medical clinics be solely for the use of residents in that community? About 2/3, 64% saying yes. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or in the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 6:36.
And I got a texter at 71010 who says, yeah, locally funded medical clinics should be used by those in the municipality. I don't know if you can put those restrictions on, though, can you?
I don't know.
If you've got a doctor's office.
It's a good question, though, right?
I'm not sure.
If the community hires the doctors and does all the heavy lifting, and then everybody sort of piles on, even though it should be available to everybody, I can see there being some pushback, even though there's legalities regarding it.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate for sure. Weigh in. CFAX1070.com. You'll find the news poll right there. And over to the CFAX 1070 Sports. Let's start with the World Cup of Soccer, where it's silver linings.
It's hard to define right now.
It's silver linings.
Kind of holding our breath.
I mean, it's not great that Canada lost.
No.
Yesterday to Switzerland 2-1.
They played well.
But it is great that Canada's moving on still.
Okay.
To the knockout round, the knockout stage of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. First time we've ever done that. And we now know after last night who we're going to play in this next round.
True.
South Africa is Canada's surprise opponent at the World Cup knockout stage match on Sunday in Los Angeles. South Africa upset South Korea 1-0 to finish second in Group A behind Mexico. And Canada ranked second in Group B behind Switzerland after that 2-1 loss to the Swiss yesterday in Vancouver. So both Canada and South Africa will face each other. That's just the way it'll go. And they're both reaching the knockout stage for the first time. That's the Canada situation. Let's talk about the rest of it. World Cup matches continue today in 3 groups with knockout stage qualification on the line. The United States and Germany are already through, with the Americans taking on eliminated Turkey. Ecuador, seeking its first goal of the tournament, faces the Germans. In other matches, the Ivory Coast versus Curacao, Tunisia against the Netherlands, Sweden against Japan, and Paraguay meets Australia. So that's what's happening today. For baseball, Toronto Blue Jays send right-handed pitcher Kevin Gausman to the mound today to kick off a 4-game homestand against the Texas Rangers. The Blue Jays are 9.5 back of the New York Yankees atop the AL East. And for the local baseball, the Nanaimo Night Owls beat the Victoria Harbor Cats 8-3 yesterday. That ties this current 3-game island series they're in the middle of at 1 game apiece after Victoria took the first game, and the series comes to an end in Nanaimo tonight, following which the Harbor Cats will then engage with the Bellingham Bells for a weekend series in Victoria. That is your CFAX Sports to 6:39. It's 6:40. Let's check CFAX traffic and weather. Well, there's not much in traffic. The roads are looking very clear right now. If you see otherwise, text me at 71010, but not much in the way of volume delays yet. I don't have any crashes to pass on. Road work continues at several spots in Victoria, though. Government Street, continued closure fully 24/7 at Bay Street, northbound to John, north to John. It's north and southbound that's closed, but that's the stretch that's closed at Government. And the gas main Construction work that's going on kind of around Caledonia is now up towards Cook Street. Watch out for that. It's going to be affecting things with single-lane alternating traffic a little later into the morning. And for the weather forecast, that's where things are really interesting. So we got clouds rolling in today. There's a bit of this cooler breeze that's been blowing overnight, blowing away all the humidity that we've been experiencing for the last few days. And now it's getting into, by the afternoon, a chance of showers. By the evening, periods of rain that'll last overnight and into the day on Friday. Those periods of rain start to ease off kind of sometime into later Friday afternoon. By evening, we should be done with it, and the weekend looks dry. But yeah, that periods of rain coming at us mostly for tonight and tomorrow. Temperature-wise, here's what's going on. We've got a high of 21 today, cooler by the water. Low of 12 overnight. And tomorrow, that's where I'm going. Tomorrow's a high of 18 degrees. Saturday, a high of 18 degrees. Sunday, a high of 20 degrees. So staying a little more moderate for the next few days. Right now for the temperatures, the official temperature at the Victoria International Airport is 15 degrees. In downtown Victoria, it is 13 degrees. Opening bells just ringing for North American stock market, so no results as of yet. I can tell you yesterday, losses in the basic materials and energy sectors weighed down Canada's main stock index. The S&P TSX in Toronto was down 191 to close at 34,736. In New York, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 182 to 51,848. NASDAQ lost 110 to close at 25,476. And then the Canadian dollar trading overseas at 70.3 cents US, which is up a tiny bit compared to Wednesday. But overall, you might have noticed the Canadian dollar has been slumping quite a bit. It has been steadily falling over the past several weeks. It finds itself caught between a weak domestic economy and strong demand for the U.S. dollar. That's what the experts are saying, at least. As of early May, the loonie was trading around 74 cents U.S., but has now been down around 70. The currency research group Corpay says the U.S. dollar has been crushing its global rivals due in part to the AI boom and a better-than-expected economy. But Scotiabank analysts say they expect the loonie to have a rebound to about 75 cents U.S. by later this year. Some thoughts on the dollar, and that's your business news.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Did you know that BC has a new town?
Really?
There's a new municipality.
Where?
It's the Okanagan.
Yeah.
Just south of where Penticton is. It's a place that's existed before.
Okay.
It's called Okanagan Falls.
And is it because of the population that's...
Well, the residents voted to do this. The community kind of came together and decided to incorporate.
Oh.
So
how many residents?
It's about 2,300 people, just a little shy of that, but that's rounded up. And for the first time in their history, they will vote for a mayor and council in this October's elections.
Well, that's cool.
But I just thought that was neat. I guess it's a place that's existed before. It's been known as Okanagan Falls for all of its time, but it's always just been one of those unincorporated areas.
Interesting. So they have like about 2,000 residents?
Yeah.
So can they divide that into quarters and then talk about amalgamation? Just had to put it out there.
That's pretty good. I'll get to that in a second. Actually, we are going to talk amalgamation. That's a good pivot. I like that. So anyways, welcome Okanagan Falls to being a town.
Yeah, you're all shiny and pretty.
Just there in the Okanagan, south of
they got
Penticton.
a coffee shop. They got a fire hall.
Yeah. But speaking of amalgamation, that's been an interesting story locally. We are going to cover that a bit today because we had Trevor Barry from the Capital Region Municipal Amalgamation Society on the radio with Josh and Jade yesterday, and he was reacting to the fact that the province won't let us do a binding referendum question, or I guess, plebiscite question on the ballot this fall, which is what they were hoping for.
So dumb it down for me. Binding would mean that whatever the results were, they would have to act on it?
Yeah. So
why would the province weigh in on that?
Well, I guess so. This has been a long process.
Yes.
We've already had a non-binding vote previously that said, hey, residents of Saanich and Victoria, that's what we're talking about specifically. Yes. So everybody else is not in this, but Victoria and Saanich.
For now.
Do you want to amalgamate? Or I think the question was like, do you want us to explore maybe looking at it kind of?
To spend $250,000 to explore to kind of look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they've done a bunch of studying. They've done a report on it.
Turn it over, examine it, yes.
And now the folks who would like to see amalgamation want to get this to the stage of a binding question where this will be the definitive thing.
Right.
But the province has said, no, feel free to do a non-binding question if you want, but you can't do the binding one.
I just don't understand why the province would weigh in on something like that.
Well, they have to approve it. So the
Right.
province has to be the one to grant it either way. But yeah, why they made that decision, I'm
Why
not
say
exactly
no?
sure.
Okay.
Trevor Barry, who's, again, the guy from the Amalgamation Society, he spoke yesterday on CFAX.
There is no benefit in holding a non-binding question at this point. There was in the past when we had to decide we wanted to explore this. And the voices of the people were, there's always the voices of no. And, that's great. They should have that opportunity to be heard in a final binding ballot question.
Yeah.
And it should have to be mutual consent, right? Victoria has to be 50% plus one, and Saanich has to be 50% plus one. But that should happen one last time. And that should be the definitive answer to this question. It should not get dragged out any further, at some cost, I might add, and with no benefit.
So there you go. That's his take on this decision.
Okay, so I'm going to ask your thoughts.
Yeah?
Do you agree with him?
Yeah.
Me too. Why spend more money for something that doesn't come to fruition, one way or the other?
Yeah, let us know what you think at
We
7:10.
need an explanation on this.
Yeah. Well, we are going to talk to the mayor of Saanich.
Good.
The mayor of Saanich is joining us coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. He's going to talk about their take on this. Victoria City councillors will be discussing this at their council meeting today. So this is kind of in the air today, the amalgamation question and whether or not it's just kind of fizzling and not going
You
anywhere.
may smell it past once in a while.
Can you smell it in the air?
The scent of amalgamation.
Yeah. And the smell of, and then we mentioned, we kicked this off by saying, welcome BC's first new municipality in 16 years, Okanagan Falls. This texter says, good morning, Ryan and Lisa. I'm going to do it. When does the shiny new municipality start talking about roundabouts and bike lanes? Welcome to being a municipality,
Traffic
Okanagan
circle.
Falls. All of this is now in your future. You get to have all these great municipal debates. The traffic circles. There you go. 6:48 to the headlines. Here's Lisa.
An economist said that as Canada gains clarity on economic issues, it should rebound towards the end of the year. Emphasis on should. Weighing in on their summer outlook, Deloitte Canada chief economist Don Desjardins says believes a country that will see business investments accelerate and job creation. The report says Canada's economy is forecast to rebound toward the end of the year, bringing growth to 0.7% for this year after a weak activity in the first quarter. A series of oil tankers have navigated the Strait of Hormuz using a new route close to Oman's shores that have been promoted by the Arab country and the UN Maritime Agency. The deployment comes amid threats from Iran's Revolutionary Guard against vessels transversing that key waterway. The U.S. and Iran have agreed to a 60-day period to resolve issues related to the deal. Meanwhile, the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon has flared again. And a sleep specialist giving some tips for keeping those Z's in check. At Cleveland Clinic's Dr. Michelle Drupp says it should normally take about 10 to 20 minutes to fall asleep. If you're falling asleep faster than that, she says it may be sleep deprivation or an underlying sleep issue. If it takes longer than 20 minutes, she recommends keeping a consistent sleep schedule, exercising regularly, and avoiding caffeine at night. She also says don't go to bed until you actually feel sleepy. That's your news to 6:49.
Coming up this weekend, an event to mark the 5-year anniversary of the 2021 Heat Dome, which was linked to more than 600 deaths in BC. So Sunday, Ogden Point is where this walk-in ceremony will take place. Victoria City councillors, some of them expected to attend. We're going to talk to one of the organizers of this event from a group called Victoria Cool Kit. We'll learn about them and what this event is going to be doing in just a moment here on the program after traffic and weather. CFAX 1070 is proud to support the 42nd TD Victoria International Jazz Fest. 10 hot days and nights of the coolest music in town. The longest running party on Vancouver Island brings you jazz, blues, funk, world, and more. Featuring free-to-attend outdoor performances, ticketed and cover charge shows, and free-to-attend workshops on stages across downtown Victoria and Esquimalt. The 42nd TD Victoria International Jazz Fest, on now through the 28th. Tickets on sale now. Details at cfax1070.com and on the iHeart Radio app. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. By the way, the whole morning show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Summerfest is on now, and Thrifty Kitchens Kebabs set the stage for your summer barbecue. Choose from up to 8 ready-to-grill varieties at Thrifty Foods. Okay, no problems on the roads. I have no crashes of those kind of problems to report. You can let us know at 7:10:10 if you see something. But yeah, looking very clear this morning. In fact, the roadways are much clearer than usual. I don't have a lot of traffic volume at all. At BC Ferries, no sailing waits. For the weather forecast, it's a big change day with clouds and rain moving in. We've got a chance of showers by this afternoon. Periods of rain overnight and into Friday. It dries up Friday night and then stays dry through the weekend, but just maybe a little more on the cloudy side. And temperatures are certainly cooling down compared to where we were. Highs around 21 today. It'll be highs of 18 for Friday and Saturday with a high of 20 on Sunday. Right now, if you are in the Saanich area by the University of Victoria, I've got 12 degrees showing. At Shawnigan Lake, it's 14.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
We may be cooling down in the weather forecast this year right now, but 5 years ago around this time, it was a very different story. It was the heat dome, a fatal event that was linked to more than 600 deaths in BC. And this Sunday at Ogden Point, there's going to be a walk-in ceremony to commemorate this and remember those people and just kind of keep the story going. I've got on the line with me right now somebody who's been involved in planning this Sunday event. Amalia Shellhorn is with the group Victoria Red Rebels, one of the groups putting this together. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
First off, talk about
the chance. Yeah.
Oh yeah, talk about your group Red Rebels and all the groups that have come together to put this on. Who's doing this?
Okay, well, the Red Rebels have really come out of Seniors for Climate, which is one of the organizations. We're also collaborating with Eco Justice, with Cape and Cane, that's the nurses and physicians for the environment, and with Victoria Cool Kit and the new BC Heat Collaborative.
Did you guys all come out of the heat dome as reaction to this, or have these organizations come from different places?
Well, the BC Heat Collaborative is forming. There's also a group in Vancouver that's planning an action for the same day, and that is a collaborative of organizations that have already been very involved in working to protect for adaptation and mostly mitigation against climate change. So a lot of us are involved in multiple groups, and we've reached out to one another and come together for this event.
So the event is Sunday. Talk us through what's going to happen.
We're meeting at Ogden Point down near the breakwater in Victoria because all of the fatalities in Victoria proper happened in James Bay, near that area. And we're going to be walking up to mile zero, which is about not quite 1.5 kilometers, and stopping along the way to hear short speakers. We're going to be singing. There's going to be a section of the walk that we will remain silent and have a meditative, reflective time, and it should be interesting. The Red Rebels will be there. They're kind of a white-faced, silent, gestural group that is expressive, and there's going to be the orca puppet, and at the end of the event, we're giving what we're calling fan mail to some of the counselors. We hope that several of them will show up to express our appreciation for the steps they've taken so far towards climate adaptation, and to encourage them to keep going, because there's a lot more to be done.
Yeah, you're going to present some of the Victoria Council members with fans. Is that what I see here?
That's right. We're calling it fan mail because we've written messages on these fans that we're going to be giving to them.
And is this a sign of appreciation, the fans, or is it a sign of, hey, do more to cool us down?
Yeah, both things. In Victoria, they've recently accelerated the zero carbon step code for building, which is great. And they also have put forward a motion for maximum temperature, both in residences and in workplaces. So we're thanking them for that, and also, urging them to do more. There are a lot of other measures that can be taken that would make a very big difference.
I'm talking to Amalia Shellhorn with the group Victoria Red Rebels, so one of a few groups that are coming together to organize this event on Sunday. It is to commemorate the heat dome of 5 years ago, with a lot of the deaths that took place in the Victoria area happening in the James Bay area. So they're doing it there. For anybody who wants to come, can people just show up and take part if they want to, or do you have to sign up, or how does that work?
Oh, just show up at 2:00 at Ogden Point. We've chosen this beautiful walk along the coast there to really help awaken people a sense of awe and reverence and really love for nature, which needs to underpin any kind of climate action that happens. And just coming together in itself can really empower people and build a sense of community and make people feel that they are not alone in their concerns.
All right. Well, good luck with the event. And we'll be thinking about it as the 5-year anniversary of the Heat Dome is here. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a break. 7 o'clock news next.
CFAX Victoria,
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 7:01 on this Thursday, June 25th. So we are looking at a day that's going to cloud over, get rainy by the end of it. Full forecast to come. But right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
An update on that dramatic moment in the air on the East Coast. We're learning more about the moments aboard the Air Canada flight from New Jersey to Halifax as a pilot suffered a medical emergency midair. ABC's Hannah Butter has the story.
Pilot is incapacitated. Aircraft is being flown by the co-pilot.
It all started when the plane suddenly swerved. The pilot experiencing what witnesses describe as a seizure that lasted 40 minutes, though a diagnosis has not been confirmed. Passengers jumping in to help after they say a flight attendant dragged the pilot out of the cockpit into the aisle, trying to restrain him. The co-pilot taking over. The flight, headed to Nova Scotia, forced to land in Boston.
Footage from the scene show the pilot being carried away in a stretcher on the tarmac and then being rushed to hospital. A group of economists sounding an alarm of what they call data quality crisis in this country.
Desjardins says in a new report today that the data Statistics Canada reports is becoming less reliable. Deputy Chief Economist Randall Bartlett says he fears economic forecasts and government policy decisions will suffer for this.
Even so-called evidence-based decisions ultimately could become poor decisions.
Fewer Canadians answering surveys and the U.S. tariff dispute were cited as potential reasons for inaccurate trade data. Hannah Stoles, The Canadian Press.
News and culture industry groups want Ottawa to take a stand on just how AI systems use copyrighted content.
They want the government to state it will not introduce an exemption to the law allowing the use of copyrighted content to train AI platforms. The call comes after the Liberal government released its long-awaited national AI strategy earlier this month. Questions and lawsuits have swirled for years around AI systems' unauthorized use of copyrighted content, but Ottawa's strategy failed to address the issue. The CEO of News Media Canada says that's troubling to news publishers. Diana Musina, The Canadian Press.
It's been the home of the New York Knicks championship run already this year, but there's now possible solid signs that New York City's Madison Square Garden could actually be the venue for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding. ABC's Aaron Katarski has details.
New York City officials tell ABC News an event company has filed a permit requesting closure of the street outside Madison Square Garden from July 2nd to July 4th, a potential sign of planning for a Swift-Kelce wedding reportedly taking place July 3rd. The official said the permit application also requested permission for an exterior canopy that could be used to conceal comings and goings, and listed the size of the event between 500 and 999 people.
Certainly not looking for privacy. A sleep specialist giving some tips for falling asleep. Dr. Michelle Drupp is a specialist at Cleveland Clinic. She says it should take you normally about 10 to 20 minutes to fall asleep. That sounds long. She says any shorter suggests sleep deprivation or an underlying sleep issue.
The most common ones would be chronic insomnia, is where people will have difficulties with sleep latency, as well as the restless leg syndrome. Obstructive sleep apnea tends to be much more leading to a lot of awakenings.
Now, she said if it takes you longer, she recommends keeping a consistent sleep schedule, exercising regularly, and avoiding caffeine at night. She also says don't get into bed until you're actually feeling sleepy. And ER wait times in this country apparently being driven up by backlogs in long-term care, rehab centers, and home care. A new report from the Canadian Institute for Health Information says patients who could be discharged to alternative care end up spending an average of 24 days in hospital inpatient unit. That means other patients who need to be admitted are stuck waiting in the ER for a bed to open up.
The Institute says data shows from April of 2024 to March of 25, half of admitted patients had waited in the ER for over 16 hours, and 1 in 10 spent more than 48 hours in the ER. That's often because patients upstairs couldn't be discharged because there was no appropriate follow-up care ready for them. The Institute's Cheryl Chewy says the findings show that improving ER wait times require solutions that look at the entire healthcare system.
And that is your news to 7:05.
Set the table for the weekend with BC Food and Wine Radio, pointing you to great wine buys, outstanding restaurants, insider stories, and all things connected to our amazing food and wine scene. Listen every week as Anthony Gismondi sits down with top winemakers, star chefs, proprietors, and more from all over BC and around the world. Don't miss BC Food and Wine Radio with Anthony Gismondi, Saturday afternoon at 1, right here on CFAX 1070.
Your CFAX 1070 news poll question: should municipally run medical clinics be solely for the use of residents in that community? 64% saying yes. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Bester, News Time 7:06.
Thanks, Lisa. Good morning. Welcome to the day. We've got a few text messages here after we were talking amalgamation a few moments ago. The question, if it shows up on a ballot during the municipal elections, will not be binding, is the news out of the province.
Right.
Any amalgamation question for Victoria and Saanich will be a non-binding one if it comes up. And this texter here, responding to that issue, says, ask yourself this question: does Victoria lose its name or does Saanich lose its name if there was amalgamation?
Maybe we could do a mashup.
That's an interesting one.
Vixen or something.
Vixen. This texter says, regarding the amalgamation discussion with the mayor, the report that was done did not address key issues like governance. Was it the award versus electing officials like they do today at large? What are the costs and savings? Very little financial data. So that texter saying maybe it makes sense that we're not doing a binding question yet if we don't have all the information. Lots of people weighing in at 7-10-10. And then this texter simply says, the city of Victoria is a dumpster fire. Why would any municipality want to amalgamate with that? So there's another text on the topic.
I don't know, strength in numbers.
The Saanich mayor joining us in the 8 o'clock hour to talk about that some more. So stay with us. Into the sports. So we'll get to the World Cup of Soccer first off, where we saw South Africa become Canada's surprise opponent for the World Cup knockout stage match on Sunday in Los Angeles. South Africa upset South Korea 1-0 to finish second in Group A behind Mexico. So Canada, ranked second in Group B behind Switzerland after Canada's 2-1 loss to the Swiss yesterday in Vancouver, goes on to meet that second place South Africa in their Group A. Both Canada and South Africa reached the knockout round for the first time ever for both those countries. Many World Cup matches continuing today. The United States and Germany are already through to top their group, so they're playing today, but there's nothing that's going to change their result. The Americans will take on the eliminated Turkey. Ecuador, seeking its first goal of the tournament, is facing the Germans. In the other matches, the Ivory Coast versus Curacao, Tunisia against the Netherlands, Sweden against Japan, and Paraguay meets Australia. In local baseball, the Nanaimo Night Owls had a victory over the Victoria Harbour Cats, 8-3. So that ties up this 3-game island series after Victoria took the first game. So they've each got a win. Who's going to come out the series victor? Well, we got one more game back in Nanaimo tonight between the Harbour Cats and the Night Owls. And after this, the Harbour Cats will come back to Wilson's Group Stadium at Royal Athletic Park to have the Bellingham Bells in town for a weekend series. In the majors, Toronto Blue Jays are sending right-handed pitcher Kevin Gausman to the mound today to kick off a 4-game homestand, which will be against the Texas Rangers. So that's coming up. And also, the Rangers are 2.5 games back of Seattle, leading the American League West as they head into this. The Jays are 9.5 back of the New York Yankees atop the AL East. That's your CFAX Sports to 7:09. Time for CFAX traffic and weather, but we're having a text message a few moments ago joking about what would you call Victoria and Saanich if they did amalgamate? Who loses their name?
Yep.
So this texter says, Sanatoria.
It's got a ring to it.
Sanatoria. Yeah, I could go with that. They're going to think about it. All right, traffic and weather. I got no crashes, no accidents to report. So major routes are looking very clear. In fact, our volume delays are lighter than usual on major routes. I don't know, it's the last few days of school for a lot of school kids. Are people kind of taking some time off right now in the midst of all this? I don't know. It's just there doesn't seem to be anybody on the roads today. If you see otherwise, text me at 71010. For the BC Ferries, no sailing weights. Things are looking good there. And the weather forecast, we've got that change. You can feel it in the air, right? The winds are kind of blowing. It's a lot cooler. The humidity is starting to blow out. And by this afternoon, we're into a chance of showers. By this evening, we're into periods of rain. And those periods of rain last through the day Friday. Although by later into the afternoon Friday, we expect it to start drying up. And then it's a dry Friday night and a dry Saturday and Sunday. But still a bit more overcast and still a bit more cool. So let's talk about those temperatures. That's the rain story. Here's the temperature story. So a high of 21 today, low of 12 overnight. Tomorrow, a high of 18 in that rain. Then Saturday and Sunday, mostly cloudy, some sunny breaks, and temperatures between 18 and 20 degrees cooler by the water. Right now for the temperatures, the official one at the Victoria International Airport is 16 degrees right now. In downtown Victoria, though, we are sitting at 12 degrees. Okay, what's happening on the markets? We got some results on the day, and the Toronto S&P TSX has gained 161 to 34,897. The Dow Jones up 198 to 52,047. The Nasdaq has dropped 306 to 25,169. Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US, which is a little up from yesterday, but very close to where it was yesterday.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
At 7:10, Matt in Langford says, I could get used to living in San Victoria, kind of like San Francisco.
Like Sandwich, but San Vic.
There you go.
It's got a ring to it.
I like San
What
Victoria.
was the other one? Sanatorium or something?
Sanatoria or San Victoria. Lots of options. Yeah.
Santoria.
We'll keep talking about that with the mayor of Saanich joining us in a few moments. Maybe we'll run by some of these names with him.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's
What
take
does
a
he
vote,
think?
Since we're not voting on anything else, really.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, that's all to come. But right now, we've got a story for you.
Do we?
You have a story for us, in fact, Lisa. You had a wild wildlife encounter recently that I think everybody needs to hear about.
Okay. So on Sunday, if you were there, at Cameron Bandshell in Beacon Hill Park, there was an afternoon jazz show as part of the jazz performances. And the final show was just wrapping up. Fantastic show. And we could hear the herons freaking out in the trees above us.
There's a whole heron rookery right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they sound very prehistoric when they all get going. But unbeknownst to us, we didn't realize the reason that they were all beaking off was because there was an eagle hunting through the nests, flying, and the eagle was teaching its fledgling how to hunt. You saw the adult male or adult female going over with the fledgling. So at one point, the fledgling actually gets its talons into almost what looks like almost a mature heron.
But a young, mature...
but almost fully grown.
Okay.
Like you would think it could fly on its own. But anyways, it grabbed it, was hanging by the wing. Very dramatic. We all looked up and went, clutching our pearls. So it ended up dropping it. About 20 feet, 30 feet, maybe.
Yeah, those trees are pretty tall.
Oh, I know. So it grabbed it and it flew a little bit, but then it dropped it within about 5 feet. It dropped it and it fell into the bushes below. And it's all brambles there with really sharp thorns. And there was a fence there, and we all rushed over. There was 20, maybe 30 people going, oh, my gosh, like, what do we do? And what do we do? And that's where sort of our challenge began. Because it was Beacon Hill Park, we wanted to make sure we did the right thing. So everyone was on their phones trying to figure out, do a bit of research, talk to fire, talk to Vic PD, tried to get a hold of Wild Ark, tried to get a hold of the Raptors in Nanaimo, Raptors Rescue, tried to get a hold of the SPCA, tried to get a hold of it. But it's Sunday at like 5:30.
Right, yeah, hard to get a hold of anybody.
Yeah, really difficult time. And I understand people have lives. It was also Father's Day, so you can factor that in. So in the end, I was reading online all these conflicting things. It's actually illegal to touch it or help a wild animal, leave it alone, take it to somewhere to get help. And I finally said, there was two young girls wearing shorts, and I said, if you walk in those brambles, you're going to get ripped up, because a bird had buried itself to protect itself, to hide out. So it was terrible. We waited. We hoped that someone could come that might be able to help. And in the end, we left it. Yeah. And so I really wanted to be able to share a happy ending. And I don't know what actually happened to the bird in the end, because I haven't been back since. And in Beacon Hill Park, they tell you on their website that the eagles will often hunt the herons, and they let nature take its course.
Right. So that's kind of what you were thinking was the right thing to do, but you didn't know.
Correct.
Like
No,
everybody,
we didn't. And the
this
thing is,
group's sitting around going like, what do we do here and what is the right
had
course
it
of
dropped
action?
it in the field where we could easily access it, we probably could have easily scooped it up to protect it. But they also say sometimes that let nature take its course.
Yeah.
Don't intervene. So I wanted to know what to do.
Yeah, so what is the right thing to do? We're going to follow that coming up in a moment, because we reached out to the folks at Wild Ark, the BCSPCA's arm that deals with wild animal rescue and rehabilitation.
Yes.
So they're going to weigh in on this very story. So you've heard the story now. What was the right thing to do? The answer is next. But first to the headlines. Here's Lisa.
A series of powerful earthquakes have killed over 160 people in the South American country of Venezuela. Nearly 1,000 people are reported injured. Local officials believe the death toll will rise, as many people are believed to be trapped under the rubble of collapsed homes and buildings in the densely populated city of Caracas. We'll bring you an update as soon as it's available. Several Canadian news and culture groups demanding clarity after Ottawa's new $2.3 billion national AI strategy was released. Apparently, it completely omits the word copyright from its 50-page document. They're asking the government to take a stand on how AI systems use copyrighted content and how to better protect our information. An economist raising the alarm about what they call data quality crisis in this country. Desjardins says that the Data Stats Canada reports is less reliable because fewer Canadians are actually answering surveys, and the U.S. tariff dispute is skewing trade data. The firm's deputy chief economist says he's worried data collection could get worse as Ottawa pressures the agency to find more cost savings in the coming years. And that is your CFAX News to 718.
All right, Wild Ark weighing in on Lisa's heron versus eagle encounter. That's coming up next. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It continues to be lighter than usual traffic volume from the West Shore into Victoria. Here's an example. I'm picking on the West Shore Town Centre area right now. If you're in that area of Langford, going from there to downtown Victoria, only taking about 25 minutes right now, which is lighter than usual for sure. For whatever reason, there's nobody on the roads this morning, comparatively speaking. If you see otherwise, text me at 71010. No crashes either. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits. And for the weather, lots going on there. So let's just pivot to the weather, where we have a chance of showers by this afternoon as clouds roll in over the course of the day. We will get into periods of rain tonight and through most of Friday, although by Friday evening it starts to clear up. And then we will get drier but still overcast conditions for Saturday and Sunday. Might see some sunshine here and there, more so on Sunday, but we do dry up for the weekend. It's not going to get as warm as we've had for the last few days. We seem to be leaving all of that heat behind us, with temperatures today as a high of 21, tomorrow a high of 18, Saturday a high of 18, and Sunday a high of 20. Right now in Victoria, at the Victoria International Airport, it is 16 degrees.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Lisa having her own National Geographic moment at Beacon Hill Park last weekend, just after one of the Jazz Fest concerts at the band shell. You were just telling us the story about right after the show, an eagle going after the heron nest at the rookery there at Beacon Hill Park. Drama happening, and we wanted to reach out to the folks at Wild Ark. They deal with wild animals and rescuing wild animals, treating them, and they know a lot about these kind of wildlife interactions and kind of what you should do in these situations. Because you and all these people, Lisa, stuck with that kind of conundrum. What do we do?
Right.
There's a wild animal encounter that's just happened. There's an injured one here, but these are wild animals despite being in Beacon Hill Park.
Well,
what do we do?
Do you do anything?
Yeah.
So we have an expert.
Our expert is from the BCSPCA Wild Ark, Ashley Curry, a manager there, joining us on the phone right now. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us and weighing in on this.
No problem. Thanks for having me. This is a complex issue, and it sounds like you have witnessed something that people don't get to see every day.
Yeah, it was definitely Wild Kingdom.
It's pretty incredible. So there is a well-established great blue heron rookery there, so that's an area where they nest and raise their young. And right above that is a bald eagle nest. And so these animals have decided to live in close proximity with each other.
So wait, the eagle nest, I got to interrupt, the eagle nest is right above the rookery?
Very close by.
Wow, I did not know that. Okay.
And we suspect that they may have chosen to live that close because eagles are apex predators, and their presence would help deter other predators from disturbing their nests.
Oh, so this might actually be in the heron's favor to have an eagle nearby, sort of, unless they're attacking your nest, I guess, but it also could scare away some other predators?
Yeah, it could be a price to pay for that protection. And so, of course, it's really difficult to see an animal being hurt, to see it in distress, and to see a predator going after it. And your first instinct, of course, is like, I want to help that animal. I want to step in.
We all try to.
But yeah, and in your story, it sounds like the eagle didn't come down to it. But in general, if you are seeing an attack of a predator on a prey species, we would actually prefer if you didn't intervene, because that is a natural dynamic that is happening. And if you disturb that interaction, what will happen is you'll have a hungry predator that may also have young that is trying to feed. It may have to, if it's disturbed, we'll have to go out and hunt again.
Right.
And if it keeps getting disturbed, that's actually a lot more animals hurt before it has a meal.
Okay, so in this case, it dropped it into brambles. The young heron buried itself. It was impossible for the eagle to get to it, and it didn't try. The eagle did continue with its fledgling to hunt the herons above us. Did we do the right thing? We tried to phone a number of organizations, even Fire and VicPD. Did we do the right thing ultimately in leaving it?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So if you are, say, witnessing a predator-prey attack and the predator is spooked for whatever reason, you can kind of watch from a safe distance just to see if that predator is going to come back. And if they're not, like if you feel confident, like they have left the area, they've moved on, or they're just too scared, like in this case, there was a lot of people there, then we do work with members of the public to get those animals into care. and sometimes we can treat them. We actually have another fledgling great blue heron in our care that had a fracture that we were able to pin and stabilize with help from surgeons. So we would like them brought in so that we can try to offer them treatment.
Mm-hmm. Well, we did try to contact you, and of course, Sunday afternoon at 5:30, it's difficult to reach anybody. We tried a number of different organizations, and I understand. I mean, you're volunteer, run for the most part, but on the actual website for the city for Beacon Hill, they do say that we understand that the bald eagles, quite frequently hunt the herons. We do know that the young heron will sometimes venture out of the nest onto a branch and become more susceptible to becoming prey. And we ask that human intervention doesn't happen because this is just nature's balance, nature's way. They actually say some, and I'm this is, out of context, but this is what they say on their website. So, sort of conflicting to what you're saying, we probably could have gone into the brambles and rescued this bird. I looked at the whole scenario and said, I just don't see it. I don't see how we're going to do this. And others ended up reluctantly agreeing with me because we'd sort of exhausted every avenue in this case. So, yeah, it's hard when you're in the moment and emotions are running high because you want to do something. You want to fix the situation. But the city is saying on its website, leave it. Let nature take its course.
Maybe that's kind of a blanket way of just saying, like, please don't interrupt that process. We do get a few of those great blue herons that sometimes they just fall from their nest too.
Right.
From Beacon Hill Park that do come into our care. Sometimes it's concerned citizens kind of containing them, bringing them to us, or sometimes the park staff at Beacon Hill Park have brought us animals from there as well.
Okay, good.
And sometimes Victoria Animal Control, they've been very helpful sometimes in certain situations.
Okay. Is there one particular thing that's a trend this year that you're seeing with babies, wild babies?
I wouldn't say it's like a trend this year, but just overall, 80% of the animals that come into our care are because of human causes. And that could be, hit by a car, hit by a window, caught by a free-roaming cat or off-leash dog. Those are always like our top reasons that we see animals come in.
We're talking to Ashley Curry, manager at BCSBCA's Wild Ark. They're the ones that deal with the wild animals and helping out when needed. And just talking about Lisa's encounter. Again, it was after one of the Jazz Fest concerts last weekend. You're in Beacon Hill Park. And at the Heron Rookery, you see an eagle, and it's eaglet. It's a little baby eagle going after the baby herons, and one of them falls onto the ground, and you were left with this dilemma. What do you do? And I guess the bottom line here, Ashley, is that usually you do want to just back off and let nature take its course. Don't intervene, even though you want to, except if the predators move right on and this creature's still alive. Maybe that's when you could, in that context, reach out for help and maybe contact somebody like Wild Ark.
Yeah, totally. You can totally reach our BCSBCA Animal Helpline at 1-855-622-7722. And we'd be more than happy to help or at least give you some guidance.
Ashley, great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us as we unpack this story and this experience Lisa had. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks so much.
Developing political story, a big doozy.
Vashi Capellos.
What started as a dull day is anything but.
The top newsmakers.
Your go-to political debrief. Daily.
What is really going on?
The breaking news.
Just moments ago.
And the entertaining analysis and debate to follow.
I don't think you can sugarcoat it. It's an issue.
It's not true, guys. Yeah.
Vashi Capellos.
There is a greater plan here.
Vashi Capellos. Weekdays, 9 a.m. to 11.
Bigger picture politically, which
is on CFAX 1070. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hey, good morning. It's 7:31 on Thursday, June the 25th. We're looking at a day that is unsettled. The wind is blowing right now. It's cooling off, and we've got rain by the end of the day. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. Right now, the news begins. What's happening? Here's Lisa Best.
We're talking referendum again. Victoria City Council discussing the idea of a non-binding referendum on amalgamation at tonight's meeting. Saanich made it official in a news release that it will conduct a non-binding vote in October. The question on the ballot, again, a simple one. Do you support Saanich and Victoria becoming one team, one municipality? Citizens Assembly has been working toward the idea. However, the BC government is opposed to a binding referendum on the issue. Police across this province issuing another warning to riders of e-scooters and e-dirt bikes after another teen was seriously injured here on the island and a couple on the mainland. Nanaimo RCMP say a panel van and a 15-year-old collided at the intersection of Metro Drive. This week, a 15-year-old was on the scooter. The driver remained at the scene and is cooperating with the investigation. The driver of the vehicle was issued a ticket for failing to yield. The teen was given a ticket for not wearing a helmet and operating an e-scooter while under the minimum age, so the teen was under the age of 16. Burnaby police say a 15-year-old hospitalized after crashing with another vehicle. This on the Barnett Highway on Tuesday. This a day after a 13-year-old riding an e-scooter in Maple Ridge was taken to hospital on Monday. Police in Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley say two teens were caught riding e-bikes recklessly, these e-dirt bikes, on June 15th. They were clocked at 55 kilometers an hour on these vehicles before they were caught. Police say BC Children's Hospital has reported 81 e-scooter-related visits to the ER departments between April of 25 and March of this year, more than double the 37 visits reported in the previous year. A U.S. Coast Guard helicopter crew from Port Angeles helped evacuate a 33-year-old female hiker who was injured on Mount Larrabee in Washington's Mount Baker Wilderness on the weekend. The woman apparently fell 120 feet into a steep gully as she couldn't descend any further due to the extent of her injuries. The hiker was hoisted up and transported to Bellingham Airport before emergency medical services took over. A group of economists raising the alarm about what they call data quality crisis in this country. Desjardins, in a new report today, says Stats Canada reports are less reliable than usual and subject to bigger revisions. Deputy Chief Economist Randall Bartlett says he's worried collection of data could get worse as the federal government pressures the agency to find cost savings in the coming years.
For me, it comes down to prioritizing, not necessarily just finding savings at Statistics Canada, but ensuring that they have adequate resources, tools, and direction to ensure that they're being efficient, but providing the best possible output that they can.
The spokesperson for Stats Canada says it is normal to expect volatile data in periods of economic upheaval, but adds those fluctuations should smooth out over time. And we've lost David Clayton Thomas.
What goes up must come down.
According to his publicist, the singer of Blood, Sweat and Tears died at Toronto Hospital last night. David was 84. No cause of death was given. He wrote Blood, Sweat and Tears hit Spinning Wheel, which reached number 2 on Billboard Hot 100 back in 1969. That's your news to 7:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning: should municipally funded medical clinics be solely for the use of residents in that community? About 2/3, 65% saying yes. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or in the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 7:36.
Thank you, Lisa. We've got some rain on the way. Not until this afternoon where we start to see the chances of showers showing up, and then the periods of rain begin tonight and into tomorrow. Right now, it's just a mix of sun and clouds, maybe more on the cloudy side, and 16 degrees. Full forecast to come right now over to the CFAX 1070 Sports. Let's do some local baseball first off. The Nanaimo Night Owls beating the Victoria Harbour Cats 8-3 last night at Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park, tying this island series at one game apiece now after Victoria took the first game in Nanaimo. And now the series goes back to Nanaimo tonight for a final game of these three with the thing tied up at one. Who will be the series winner? We'll find out tonight. And then after this, Victoria Harbour Cats will switch over, come back home, and host the Bellingham Bells for a weekend series starting tomorrow. In the majors, Toronto Blue Jays are going to be sending right-handed pitcher Kevin Gausman to the mound for the game tonight as they kick off a 4-game homestand against the Texas Rangers. The Blue Jays, coming up after they just finished off yesterday. They're 9.5 games back of the New York Yankees atop of the American League East, by the way, as they head into this one. Now over to the World Cup of Soccer. So it's South Africa that will face Canada on Sunday in Los Angeles in the round of 32 at the World Cup. South Africa was a surprise 1-0 winner over South Korea to finish second in Group A. Canada, of course, fell 2-1 to Switzerland in that game yesterday to rank second in Group B. So that's just the way the matchups went. It's us and South Africa, two teams that have never reached this stage of the World Cup before in their history. So kind of a fun story for both teams. Another thing that's emerging out of yesterday's Team Canada game, though, and a lot of folks might have been saying, hey, where was Alphonso Davies, the Canadian captain? Because the coach, Jesse Marsh, had been saying that yesterday's game is when we would see Alphonso Davies. Maybe he wouldn't be starting, but we're expecting to see him. But then he didn't show up. If you were watching, maybe you were wondering, hey, why didn't he come out? Well, Marsh says, after the fact, that he was just using that as a decoy to kind of throw the other team off in their strategies and planning so that maybe they would expect him and do things to counter him and then not have him. And anyways, I just thought that was an interesting explanation for why you didn't see Alphonso Davies, just trying to play head games with the other team. Maybe we see him Sunday. I don't know. We'll see. Sunday, it's South Africa, Canada, noon. That is when that game will take place. And that is your CFAX Sports to 7:39. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It continues to be a much easier than usual commute from the West Shore into Victoria, where we are seeing, again, I've been taking a look at the West Shore Town Centre area of Langford, just as an example. If you're going from about there to downtown Victoria, it's only taking 25 minutes. That's way lighter than it can be on the West Shore commute. So not much in the way of traffic volume. It's the last week of school. Maybe things are just different routines for everybody. And those different routines are leading to people not commuting today, it looks like. Not much happening. If you see otherwise, text us at 71010. The other major routes, Pat Bay Highway, Malahat, everything's looking clear this morning. Do watch out for the ongoing full closure of Government Street from Bay Street to John. It's a 24/7 closure, both directions, even the bike lanes, some of the sidewalks, everything is just completely shut down there, and it's going to be about a month until they finish up that project. Now let's talk about the weather, because that's where all of the news is, because the weather's a lot right now. Today we're starting off with this kind of cooler wind blowing in. It's cooling things off, blowing away all that humidity from the last few days. It's bringing with it a chance of showers by this afternoon. Then tonight, periods of rain. Highs today of 21, lows tonight of 12. Then tomorrow, those periods of rain last through most of Friday, but by the later afternoon, it starts to ease up, and we clear up, and we will get rid of the rain. Although Saturday could still be cloudy with a high of 18. Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud, high of 20. Right now in Victoria, the temperatures are kind of mixed, as they often are. At the airport, it's 16 degrees. That's our official Victoria temperature, but in the Oak Bay waterfront, it's 13. In fact, here at the studio in Esquimalt, also 13 degrees and just feeling a lot cooler than it has been for the last few days. On the markets, let's turn our attention there. Toronto's S&P TSX up 286 points at this hour to 35,022. The Dow leaping up 718 so far to 52,567. The Nasdaq has dropped 171 to 25,304, and the Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US, which is up just a tiny bit from yesterday's close.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
Eagle versus heron. We were just talking about that story from Beacon Hill Park on Sunday. Maybe you saw this. Lisa sure did. This eagle and the eagle's eaglet. I guess maybe, teaching the youngster.
Pretty much a full grown. It just didn't have the white head, but teaching it how to hunt. Which, watching it, it was pretty. It was interesting, but it was just unfortunate for the heron.
Yeah, you saw it. Hunting a heron, dropping the heron into a bush. We just talked to Wild Ark about, what do you do in a situation like that?
And not just the bush; it was blackberry bushes.
Yeah,
so with those thorns, and I have to put a shout out to Frank too, because he ended up staying. He's just a Victoria resident, but he was, kind-hearted. He stayed. He put some phone calls in. He went the distance. He was also trying to make this right, however best we could. So thank you, Frank.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the story, and thanks to Wild Ark, too, for weighing in on what to do. I guess as we learned, it's complicated. It depends on the circumstance. What's the right thing to do?
Complicated pretty much summed it up, yeah.
This texter at 71010 has a story to add to the mix, saying, my son was walking on a trail in Vancouver and encountered two eagles in a death grip on the ground.
Oh.
He spooked the larger one and it flew off, but the other was gravely injured. He called rescue, and the eagle was taken into care. Ultimately, the eagle was treated, and my son got to be involved in its release.
Oh, cool.
Very cool to be involved and in such close proximity to these impressive birds.
That is impressive.
That's a neat story. Thanks for sharing that.
Very good. Very cool. Have you ever been to a bird release? A wild animal release of any sort? It's quite moving.
I've been to fish releases, but I think that's very different.
Well, the fish kind of have that flat face, not very expressive. I've been to an adult male bald eagle release, and I was actually doing an interview at the time.
Yeah.
So I was doing a TV story at the time, and I had to put my microphone on the person holding the raptor.
Right.
And the raptor, if you're watching TV, he's got his beak open. He's got his claws out. And at one point, the wire for the lavalier mic that we put onto got caught sort of around his talon.
Oh.
So I had to very gingerly pick this wire out of his talon. Thankfully, he didn't clench. He just had his talons out. But if you've never seen an animal like that, like up close.
Well, eagles are insane when you see them up close. They're so
beautiful. He was just stunning. And honestly, I was looking at this animal going, you were just amazing, breathtaking. And it was actually, you see people in these videos when you watch the releases get emotional. And I felt all of that. When you call all the feels, I actually started to get emotional because it was. And you're overcome because you're like, why am I emotional about this? But it is. It's just such a moving moment to see this. So I highly recommend it because they have these quite often. If you get a chance to watch a release, do so. Even if it's from a distance, you'll still sense that. I don't know what it is. I guess it was getting one with nature is that feeling that we want more of.
Yeah, maybe.
Get away from the screen, get with nature.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the stories at 7:10:10, and Lisa as well for your encounter.
Bird.
It's a lot of bird news today. We've got a lot of news as well at 7:46 here at the headlines. What's going on, Lisa?
News on the water, too. Dredging of Vancouver's Burrard Inlet will go ahead, making room for larger oil tankers loading up from the Trans Mountain Pipeline. The Vancouver-Fraser Port Authority said it got the required federal permits for dredging along the navigation channel underneath Vancouver's Second Narrows Bridge. The work scheduled to start in September. The Port Authority says it needs to be done so that larger ships, which currently can only load about 80% to Clearly Inlet, can take on a lot more, like full capacity. Rescue teams rushing to the hardest hit areas of Venezuela, trying to free people still trapped under rubble following two powerful earthquakes, pretty much back to back yesterday. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez says at least 164 people have died, close to 1,000 injured in the 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude earthquakes. The U.S. and other teams, including here in Canada, are deploying rescue and search rescue teams, medical resources, and humanitarian assistance to the South American country. Caracas International Airport was cracked by the earthquake, the runways. It's going to make landings there difficult for the time being. King Charles is expected to become the first British monarch to reveal his personal tax bill. He's responding to demands for greater transparency in royal finances after months of embarrassing headlines about his disgraced younger brother, former Prince Andrew. The information will be released during Buckingham Palace's annual briefing of the sovereign grant today. Last year, the palace published a 159-page report on how it spent $115 million that it received from the Treasury. That's your news to 7:48.
By the way, if you're wondering, we have not yet played a song that involves the word boots.
That is coming.
We're going to play a boot song at some point this morning, and if you hear that, call in at 250-386-1161, and you will win a pair of tickets if I pick your call. I'm going to pick a random call at that time, and if I pick the call that's yours, you will win Kinky Boots tickets, because Kinky Boots, the musical, is coming to Victoria Royal Theatre with opening night July 7th. So that's coming up. Right now, though, we're going to talk about international news and what's going on with Iran. So is this deal done?
Is it not? What day is it?
I feel like it's quieting down a little bit, but we're still kind of wondering, where is this going?
And the Strait of Hormuz.
Because, fighting periodically keeps breaking up between Israel and Hezbollah, which might be jeopardizing this whole thing. So where are we at? We love talking to former diplomat and guy who lives in Victoria now, Jeremy Kinsman. He's joining us next.
Get ready to strut, Victoria. The Tony and Grammy Award-winning hit musical Kinky Boots is coming to the Royal Theatre this July. And CFAX 1070 wants to send you to opening night. Based on true events, Kinky Boots follows the journey of an unlikely pair who discover that you change the world when you change your mind. Tickets are on sale now. Or you could win your way in with CFAX. Listen to Mornings with Ryan and Lisa for your chance to win. Details at CFAX1070.com.
Talking birds and bird encounters. This texter at 71010 says, go visit the raptors in Duncan. It's so amazing and super up close. You can hold them. So there you go, Lisa. If you want another one of those experiences, the raptors in Duncan is an experience you can go check out. That's the text at 71010.
Now I got plans for the weekend.
There we go.
Right on.
Go have another emotional encounter with a bird, but a positive one this time. No more eagles fighting herons in Beacon Hill Park.
Well, that's what raptors are raptors. Raptors just be raptors.
This texter says, I was eavesdropping on a walking tour in Beacon Hill Park a couple of years ago. The tour guide said a number of dog and cat collars were found in an eagle's nest when the arborists inspected it. Ooh, there's a spicy text.
Wow.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'm supposed to be doing traffic and weather, but texters are letting us know about their bird encounters.
Talk.
There's a lot going on there. But you know what? It's worth talking about this other stuff because there is nothing to talk about in traffic. It is totally fine. There's no crashes. The volume delays are lighter than usual.
Everybody away for the summer?
No,
well,
yeah. Everybody's away or something.
But they're not driving. There's no mom's taxi today, right?
There's no mom taxi because school's out.
For the most part.
Some schools are still in.
Sort of, kind of.
My middle schooler's still going today.
Okay.
My high schooler's done. So it's sort of a mixed bag out there as school comes to an end. A lot less, it seems, right now on the roads. In the weather, though, there's lots to talk about there. Chance of showers by this afternoon. Periods of rain overnight tonight and through most of Friday. But by Friday evening, the rain should be done, leaving us with a dry but cooler weekend. Cooler compared to, where we've been for the last few days. But still temperatures in the high teens or as far as about 20 degrees. Today it's going to be 21.
Let's get started.
Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, with the U.S. and Iran agreement still being covered in the news, and we still are wondering where's this all going, we wanted to get an opinion on this bit of news from a former diplomat who's right here in Victoria, who we love to talk about these kind of world politics with. He's in Portugal right now. Jeremy Kinsman joining us on the line. Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm keen to get home. I'm glad the traffic's okay in Victoria. I'll be back Sunday.
Well, when you come back, it looks like the roads are clear. Not much happening. It's pretty good. Like I said, you've served diplomatic posts all over the world, so it's always fascinating to get your take on these sort of diplomatic stories in the news. And the big one we continue to follow is what's going on with U.S. and Iran. So we've got this deal, this agreement, which is technically getting worked on, but then you got Israel and Hezbollah keep flaring up, which is, I guess calling into question all of this. So from your perspective, where are things sitting here? Take us through your thoughts on the U.S.-Iran deal and where it's at.
I don't know where it's at. It's not actually a deal yet. They agreed to a memorandum of understanding, and whatever that means. What it means is that, look, we can agree to some broad things. Let's put them down on paper and get to work on the others. And where the others are going, each side, the United States and Iran, they each have red lines. Iran insists on having a nuclear program, insists on their right to enrich uranium. They do have that right underneath the Non-Proliferation Treaty. In the United States, Trump began to say, no way you can enrich uranium, but he really couldn't get away with that. And what they have is uranium existed not up to weapons grade, which is 80% enrichment, but 60%, very, very close. That was really kind of buried in Trump's attack on Iran 2 Junes ago. And so the question is, what happens to that? And no one really knows what's going to happen to it. Maybe some country, Kazakhstan, as happened under the famous Iran deal under Obama, would take it and sequester it deep, deep, deep in the Earth's granite shell. Well, we don't know what's going to happen to that. And then we got the Strait of Hormuz. Is it open or is it not open? And so that's got to be clear. It was perfectly open before the United States did attack, and Iran's not going to give that up. They're not going to necessarily, obviously, close it, but now that they've discovered they have that leverage and it's really powerful, I think they'd like to keep it. And so those two things have to be solved in these negotiations going on in Geneva. Vice President J.D. Vance is there leading the American side, and I think these Iranian guys, because they're all guys, are pretty tough. They are tough negotiators. This took a year and a half for the Americans under the Obama administration to do, so we don't really know. And Trump's style is to say it's all great, we got a deal, and then when he hears the merest whisper that maybe there isn't a deal, he says that he's going to blow them all into smithereens. You don't exactly know what's going on, but the world's waiting with bated breath, including the Gulf states who depend actually for their national livelihoods on the export of oil through that Strait of Hormuz. They're waiting to find out. It's a war that didn't have to happen. It was unnecessary. It's unresolved, really, and I think Trump is just trying to find a way out of it, because the last thing he wants to do is put American boots on that ground. So that's how it looks.
So the U.S. and Trump trying to find a way out of it. But you know who seems to not want out of it is Israel, that seems to be in a disagreement with the U.S. about trying to wrap things up at this point. They continue their fight with Hezbollah, and which is a proxy of Iran. So that's been a sticking point here. Talk about the sort of divergence of those two countries, the U.S. and Israel, who kind of went into this together, now in a disagreement over how to end it.
Well, I think they went into it together because Trump made a terrible mistake of believing what he was being told, that all they had to do was attack Iran, attack the missile bases, attack the sites, attack the infrastructure, and attack the top echelon of leaders, ultimately murder them, and then the whole thing would implode and people would be on the streets and there'd be a regime change. And of course, none of that happened. They totally underestimated the resilience, both of the regime and I would say the Iranian people. They don't like their regime much, but damn it, they do love their country. And they don't want to see it blown to smithereens. So that was a big mistake, and I think that it got Trump into a world of trouble back home. This is an unpopular war, and he's a very unpopular president now. He's polling at 35%. So that's the background. Meanwhile, Netanyahu's got problems at home. He's prime minister, but he's only a prime minister for as long as he, the elections are coming up in October. And if he loses, he has to face some charges, now about 10 years old, on corruption and this and that. But if he keeps Israel fighting, he has national unity behind his country at war. Is it a real war? Well, I don't know if it's a real war. Southern Lebanon is the heartland of Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a militia, essentially it's a Muslim militia, and that country which is roughly half Muslim, half Catholic, and it's never actually been resolved whose half is the bigger, but they are proxies of Iran to put pressure on Israel, which is trying to put pressure on Iran, and so Iran insists that the deal with the United States that we were talking about earlier has this component part as well. And now Trump is willing to go along with that. But every time, he does, Israel gets into another skirmish, some of them quite deadly, with Lebanon, with Hezbollah, and the whole deal becomes very shaky because Iran is not going to do a deal until they have that deal too. So
there you go. Question marks.
Trump is very fed up.
Question marks still over any kind of Iran-U.S. agreement. If you're confused out there, don't worry. That seems like it's the correct approach to this as you try to interpret what's going on. And thank you so much for weighing in and giving us a perspective. Former diplomat Jeremy Kinsman, based here in Victoria. He's in Portugal, though, right now, where we've reached him. Always appreciate you weighing in. Thank you.
You bet. Good to talk. Bye.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 8:02 on this Thursday, June 25th. A little rain on the way later today. I've got a full forecast for you in just a moment. Right now, though, the news begins. Here is Lisa Best.
We could certainly use that moisture. There are currently 37 fires burning across BC. That's an increase of 26 in the past day or two. Two considered out of control. They're both on the mainland. There's no new fires here on Vancouver Island, but we have to be careful with fire use as we continue to dry out. Rescue crews scrambling to find those still trapped under debris after two earthquakes hit back-to-back in Venezuela yesterday. Jason Wang is a U.S. tourist who says he was just getting onto a cable car when the quake hit.
I was about to board the cable car, so I started recording myself going in, and the whole building just started shaking. The floor under me was shaking, and then all of a sudden, everyone started panicking. We were just rushing for the door to exit the building, and none of us knew what was going on until, a few minutes afterwards, we realized we got hit with a massive earthquake.
At least 164 people are confirmed dead. Close to 1,000 have been hurt, but rescuers fear there's more people trapped under the rubble. More on that dramatic moment in the air on the eastern coast. We're learning about the scary moments aboard that Air Canada flight from New Jersey to Halifax, where the pilot suffered a medical emergency midair.
Pilot is incapacitated. Aircraft is being flown by the co-pilot.
It all started when the plane suddenly swerved. The pilot experiencing what witnesses describe as a seizure that lasted 40 minutes, though a diagnosis has not been confirmed. Passengers jumping in to help after they say a flight attendant dragged the pilot out of the cockpit into the aisle, trying to restrain him. The co-pilot taking over. The flight, headed to Nova Scotia, forced to land in Boston.
Footage from the scene showing the pilot being carried away in a stretcher on the tarmac to hospital. A new report says wait times at emergency departments across this country are made longer by the lack of available spots in long-term care facilities and home care programs.
The report by the Canadian Institute for Health Information says patients who could be discharged to rehab centers, long-term care homes, or home care end up waiting an average of 24 days in hospital inpatient units. The trickle-down effect means other patients who need to be admitted to the hospital are stuck waiting in the emergency department for a bed to become available. Half of admitted patients had waited in the ER for more than 16 hours. 8% of patients admitted to hospital became alternate level of care, meaning they no longer required acute care but couldn't be discharged because there was no appropriate follow-up care ready for them. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
A group of economists raising the alarm about what they call data quality crisis in this country. Desjardins says that the data that Stats Canada reports is less reliable because fewer Canadians are actually answering surveys. And the U.S. tariff dispute is skewing trade data. Deputy Chief Economist Randall Bartlett says there's consequences for policymaking here.
There's a real concern that, it becomes garbage in, garbage out, that if the data quality is extremely poor, even so-called evidence-based decisions ultimately could become poor decisions because of the fact that the data that those decisions are based on is of very poor quality.
The consensus estimate among economists and monetary policy makers was for the real GDP growth of roughly 1.5% annualized in the first quarter. That's your news to 8:06. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, should municipally funded medical clinics be solely for the use of residents in that neighborhood? About 2/3, 65% saying yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com or the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Sebastian, News Time 8:07.
Thank you, Lisa. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Summerfest is on now, and Thrifty's Kitchen's Kebab set the stage for your summer barbecue. Choose from up to 8 ready-to-grill varieties at Thrifty Foods. CFAX 1070 Sports, and let's start off with the World Cup report.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. It was a Swiss miss for Canada's hopes of remaining at home for the knockout round of the World Cup. Switzerland scored twice early in the second half and held on to defeat Canada 2-1 to clinch first place in Group B. Promise David came off the bench to score in the 76th minute to get Canada back in it, but they could not find the equalizer. So Canada now heads to LA, where it will play South Africa Sunday afternoon in its first knockout stage game.
Probably going to be an away crowd, and it'll be a little bit tougher, but we still want to electrify our country and play really well down there and go after it still. We're exactly where we want to be. We finished second in the group. We're in the knockout phase, and now let's go for it.
Canadian coach Jesse Marsh says Alphonso Davies will be ready to play in that game. South Africa advanced to the knockout round for the first time ever with a 1-0 upset win over South Korea. South Africa is ranked 60th in the world, 35 places worse than the Koreans. Mexico won Group A, clinching with a 3-0 win over Czechia. Bosnia advanced with a 3-1 win over Qatar. Brazil got Neymar back and beat Scotland 3-0. Morocco got second behind Brazil in Group C by doubling Haiti 4-2. 6 more final group stage games today. The Netherlands can clinch first in Group F with a victory over Tunisia, and the U.S. can finish 3-0 with a win over Turkey tonight. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
And that's your sports to 809. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Well, if you see anything out there, let me know at 7:10:10, because right now it's been a very easy commute. Lighter than usual volume delays from the West Shore. I've been talking about the kind of West Shore town center area of Langford into downtown Victoria. About a 25-minute drive this morning. It's been like that all day. That means there's not a lot of traffic out there. I mean, that can take an hour sometimes if it's really backed up. So we're looking pretty good today. If you see, though, a problem, let me know at 7:10:10. So let's shift over to the weather, where there's actually a lot to talk about. You can feel it in the air. It's a pivot day. We got this wind blowing out all the humidity that's been with us for the last few days. It's going to be a high of only about 21 degrees today, but a lot cooler by the water where that wind's blowing. And then a chance of showers arrives this afternoon, and periods of rain begin tonight. Lows down to 12 in those periods of rain. The rain will be with us for the first part of tomorrow, kind of in the morning and into the afternoon. But as we get later into the afternoon tomorrow, the rain starts to ease off. We'll end up with just a cloudy night and then a cloudy Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud for Sunday, and temperatures over Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be in the high teens, maybe up to 20 degrees. So yeah, a little wet for the tonight and tomorrow period. Dry for the weekend, but cooler. That's the short story. Right now, downtown Victoria, the temperature is 13 degrees. The official temperature at the Victoria International Airport is 15. On the markets in Toronto, S&P TSX making some gains, up 277 to 35,013. The Dow in New York, a huge leap ahead today, up 789 to 52,638. The NASDAQ is down 0.3 of a cent, or sorry, 0.3 of a point. So virtually unchanged at 25,476. And the Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US, which is up just a tiny bit from yesterday's close.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Oh, what's this?
Nice.
Some music playing. What could that be?
Little Nancy.
You keep saying you got something for me.
And what are those things?
Something you call love, but confess.
That's not what I'm looking for.
You've been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin'. And now someone else is getting all your best. These boots are made for walking.
There it is.
And that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
There's a boot song for Kinky Boots tickets. The Tony and Grammy Award-winning hit musical Kinky Boots coming to the Royal Theatre in just less than a couple of weeks now. Opening night is July 7th, and then it's going to run for a few days. We want to send you to opening night with tickets right now. Call 250-386-1161, and we'll give you some tickets. But I gotta go to the phone lines first.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just doing this randomly. I got to feel out the right
number
call.
The
I'm
feng
picking
shui.
this line. This line looked good.
Okay.
Who's this?
It's Shirley.
Shirley? How are you this morning?
I'm so excited.
Are you? Well, that means you must know what's going on then. You've called the right place.
Great.
Okay, let me just I'm
Make it
not
official now.
I'm not going to draw this out. Let's just do this.
Okay.
Shirley, congratulations. You have won a pair of tickets to see Kinky Boots the musical.
Oh, thank you.
All right. I got a question for you. Do you have a pair of those Nancy Sinatra white go-go boots?
You know what? I don't.
Did you ever have a pair?
Maybe when I was young.
Okay. Well, you dress up and you take yourself out. We're going to give you tickets.
There's still time to get them before Kinky Boots the musical opening night, July 7th. Just saying, Shirley.
Oh, that's great.
So
I don't think she's wearing the boots, but she'll be at the show.
There you go.
Yeah.
The boots are a state of mind more so than anything.
That's a good
right?
point.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
Hang on the line, Shirley. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to talk to you off the air and get your information to make sure you get your tickets. So congratulations.
Yeah.
And we've got another pair of tickets to give away tomorrow. So if you missed out on today, don't worry. We'll play another song that involves boots tomorrow.
Start walking.
Okay, over to the headlines now. Here's Lisa.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning. Vic PD obtaining a warrant for a suspect in connection with 2 armed robberies at local gas stations in the month of April. 42-year-old Andrew Anthony Charles is facing a number of charges, including 2 counts of robbery. Victoria Police looking for potential witnesses or dashcam video from around the Victoria International Airport area. It was last Saturday, June 20th, between the hours of 6 and 8 a.m. They're looking for anyone who may have seen a woman waving or flagging down a passing motorist. No details beyond that have been released, but if this tweaks your memory, give Vic PD a call. A humpback whale found heavily entangled in discarded fishing gear off Vancouver Island is now swimming freely again after a coordinated rescue effort involving Canadian personnel, the military personnel, and federal fisheries officials. The whale, nicknamed Artemis, was first spotted in mid-June in the Strait of Georgia and monitored by authorities for 3 days before they finally freed it from the last of the ropes. While whale entanglements are not uncommon along our coast, each of these rescues presents very unique challenges for the crews that have to work alongside the big animals in sometimes rough water conditions. And Prime Minister Mark Carney says Ottawa will be sending some amounts of humanitarian aid to support Venezuelans following the catastrophic earthquakes overnight. In a statement, Carney expresses condolences for everyone who was affected and promises to prepare and deliver some humanitarian assistance in the days and weeks ahead. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand says the suffering is heartbreaking, many facing unbearable days ahead without shelter, food, and lots of uncertainty. Global Affairs Canada officials are in touch with regional partners and aid groups, and Anand says Canada will contribute humanitarian efforts as appropriate. Canada Canada and Venezuela have not formally severed relations, but Ottawa did close the Caracas embassy back in June of 2019 after Venezuela failed to renew expiring visas for their diplomats. And that is your CFAX News to 8:17.
Amalgamation is in the news this week for a few reasons. Saanich, the municipality, met at their council meeting earlier this week and did decide to put a question on this year's election ballot. It'll be a non-binding question about amalgamation between Victoria and Saanich. Victoria City Council having this discussion later today, so they're discussing it. But the idea that it's non-binding is one of the big parts of this story, because the province came out and told Victoria and Saanich that the Citizens Assembly report that they did into the amalgamation issue, which emerged out of the previous time we asked this question on a ballot, didn't address everything it needed to address when it came to like the financial services and all of that stuff.
Devil's in the details.
Yeah. So the province says the electorate doesn't have all the details it needs yet. You can't have a binding referendum on amalgamation yet.
Okay.
You can do a non-binding one. So let's talk to the mayor of Saanich coming up next about how this is playing out in Saanich, what they're going to do with that, and talk about the fact that they will still ask this question. So that's coming up in just a few moments on CFAX. Stand by. And we'll also ask him what... If amalgamation were to happen, what would you call this municipality?
People have had good ideas.
We had some wonderful suggestions earlier today on the text line. Some people saying sanatoria, which sort of sounds like sanatorium.
Very
could be
close.
The right idea.
That's
but
kind of in the ballpark.
We'll get into that next. Stand by. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Summerfest is on now, and Thrifty Kitchen's kebabs set the stage for your summer barbecue. Choose from up to 8 ready-to-grill varieties at Thrifty Foods. Traffic continues to be light in the entire Greater Victoria area. Not many people are commuting for whatever reason this morning, so easy commute, no crashes, no accidents. Full closure of Government Street from Bay to John. That continues. It started this week. It's going to be a thing for a month. I'll just mention it sometimes to remind you that if you are commuting via Government Street, you can't from Bay to John. In the weather forecast, we are looking at a increasingly cloudy day with a chance of showers by this afternoon, with periods of rain tonight and through a lot of our Friday, but clearing up for Saturday and Sunday. Well, maybe still cloudy, but at least the rain clears up for Saturday and Sunday ahead of us. Right now, the temperatures in Victoria are mixed, as they always are. Brentwood Bay, you're looking at 16 degrees right now. Oak Bay by the water, it's 13.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, it's an age-old question. Victoria, Saanich, should they combine into one municipality? Should they amalgamate? Well, Saanich is going to ask that question in a non-binding way. That's something that came up this week, and Victoria is going to be having this very discussion later today. So let's get into it with the mayor of Saanich, Dean Murdoch, who's joining us on the line. Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Although, I've been having this conversation as long as I have been working in the news in Victoria. Amalgamation is just one of those things we always talk about. It kind of sounds like we're not over yet because we've got the situation where it's going to come up again on the ballot, but in a non-binding way. That's what we've heard from the province, and that's what we've heard from Saanich this week as this came up. So maybe just set this up for us. What was decided at Saanich Council on Monday?
Yeah, so as you said, this one goes way back. In fact, amalgamation has been a topic that's been discussed around here, I think, as long as there have been local governments on the South Island. We had a citizens' assembly that convened over the course of several weeks this term. It was a 48-member citizen-appointed or appointed citizen-led panel that came up with a recommendation that Victoria and Saanich should amalgamate. Both our two communities had committed to putting whatever they recommend to a referendum. When we received the results from the Citizens' Assembly, we went to the minister, who's responsible for municipalities, to say we would like your blessing to have a binding referendum on whether or not Saanich and Victoria should amalgamate. And the minister's response surprised us. Additional requirements that we had not previously been made aware of, including more financial analysis and consultation with First Nations before she'd approve a binding referendum, but did tell us we'd be free to do a non-binding referendum, which our staff are calling a public opinion question. And that question, which Council approved on Monday night, will be, do you support Saanich and Victoria becoming one municipality?
But when that vote happens, that vote doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's just, like you said, more of a gauge of opinion rather than a vote that'll have any actual effect.
Yeah, the effect would be that if it's supported, then we will proceed with satisfying the requirements that the minister has set out, including the financial implications and analysis of the two communities becoming one. The province has said that they'll be responsible for First Nations engagement to understand what a new structure of local government on the South Island would mean for the nations that reside here, for whom these are the homelands. And if the answer is no, well, then, we're down tools. We continue on with other work rather than continuing to explore this question. And I think, for those who say that, this is a frivolous or superfluous exercise, we've already done this. Well, to a certain extent, that's true, but we've never actually asked voters directly if they support amalgamation of the two communities. We asked them first in 2014 if they supported a governance review, and then in 2018 if they supported a citizens' assembly. This will be the first time we ask voters if they want the two communities to be combined, and that will really be the gate whether or not we proceed with further investigation, or if we say, all right, there's no longer interest in this question, it's time to move on.
See, now remember, I think it was the one you talked about in 2018, that vote, it was, do you support spending $250,000 to examine the idea? I'm paraphrasing.
Yes.
Am I correct about that? Was it about spending the money and looking at it?
Spending $250,000 for a citizens' assembly to look at the pros and cons, effectively, right. And the cost benefit of the two communities amalgamating. And the result in both communities was in favor, and so we proceeded in partnership with the province. We each put in $250,000, Victoria, Saanich, and the provincial government, to pay for a citizens' assembly, which convened and deliberated and came back with a positive recommendation to amalgamate.
Okay, and that was in 2018. So, I mean, there's good money being spent here that I see could be going to other places in the community. And not to be flippant, but when do we stop reheating sauerkraut? Because it seems that way.
I haven't heard it put quite like that before, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I know for a lot of folks, I hear strong feelings on this in both directions. Those who are not supportive of amalgamation will say exactly what you've said. When do we stop spending time, energy, effort, and taxpayers' money on exploring this question? And then for those who are supportive, they say, there are more efficient ways for you to be delivering services, and you need to determine whether or not it's a good idea for us to come together.
We've only got a few moments left, but I want to get a response from you on something that came up on our airwaves yesterday. Reacting to the same story, we had Trevor Barry. He's the Capital Region Municipal Amalgamation Society chair. So he's on the amalgamation side of things, and he spoke to Josh and Jade. And this is just sort of something he commented on based on your council discussion on Monday. So I'm going to play you the clip, and I'll get you to respond.
One of the things that was said Monday night at Saanich, which resonated very well, I think, across everyone who heard it, was the Councillor Phelps Bondaroff happened to mention, as a hockey player, that he felt that what's happening is we're setting up a playoffs hockey game where one team has to win 4 games, but the other team only has to win 1. Because if a non-binding question, which we've had 2 of those already, if a non-binding question were to go in front of the public and, one side or the other were to slip below the 50% line once, this thing is dead in the water. But if it goes yes on 2 non-binding questions this fall, then we're no further ahead than we were a month ago.
What do you think of that characterization?
I mean, I think that Trevor makes a good point that it will effectively kill any further action if one community does not support amalgamation. But I think that's exactly the point. We want to understand if voters really intended for us to continue to spend the time and energy involved in looking at amalgamation seriously. I mean, this is not a contemplative exercise anymore. This would be moving forward with the intent of putting the 2 communities together. I think it is well worth asking voters whether or not this is something they support. And if the answer is yes, then Trevor's right. That will mean there's more work yet to be done. If the answer is no, well, I think that resolves the question, and it's time for us to move on to other important work that local governments are responsible for.
So who knows? Maybe this goes nowhere, but we'll definitely have the vote. Well, as for Saanich, at least, we'll put it on the ballot in a non-binding way. But if we were ever to get there, we would have to figure out what to call such a municipality. If Victoria and Saanich combined, it wouldn't necessarily be Victoria or Saanich. Textures this morning were letting us know that they are voting for the term or the name Sanatoria. Just want to get your thoughts on that, Mayor Dean Murdoch.
I don't think I'd be particularly supportive of Sanatoria. No? It doesn't really convey the kind of beautiful message or convey the beauty of the area that we have. But, maybe at least it sounds like it's been cleaned.
Yeah.
Health and wellness.
But I guess, that's a discussion that'll have to happen depending on how this all goes. But Mayor Dean Murdoch, much appreciated. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you both. Appreciate your time.
All right, we got to take a break. We got the 8:30 news next. Then we're going to get sports guy Steve in to talk about the World Cup results from yesterday.
Where the noise stops and the conversation begins.
Hey, it's Friday. Welcome to the Graham Richardson Show.
The stories that shaped your week aren't just headlines. They are the moments we live through and the decisions that change what comes next.
Let's take a closer look at that together.
It's national conversations. From major policy shifts to the fun, unexpected trends and friends everyone will be talking about. It is intelligent, unpredictable, and completely Canadian. Stay informed. Stay ahead. The Graham Richardson Show. Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on CFAX 1070. The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe.
Everyone wants to know about real estate. Is the market going up or down? Time to buy or sell? How can government programs and policies affect you? Hear from local experts on topics like appraisal, inspection, investment, and others on how to maximize your real estate sale.
Providing info on everything you needed to know about real estate. The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe. Saturdays at noon on CFAX 1070. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 8:32, Thursday, July 25th here, and we are getting some rain later today, starting off with an overcast day and a bit of wind. Full forecast to come. Right now, though, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Good morning. A group of economists raising the alarm about what they call data quality crisis in this country.
Desjardins says in a new report today that the data Statistics Canada reports is becoming less reliable. Deputy Chief Economist Randall Bartlett says he fears economic forecasts and government policy decisions will suffer for this.
Even so-called evidence-based decisions ultimately could become poor decisions.
Fewer Canadians answering surveys and the U.S. tariff dispute were cited as potential reasons for inaccurate trade data. Hannah Stoles, The Canadian Press.
Emergency room wait times being driven up and made longer due to backlogs in long-term care, rehab centres, and home care. A report by the Canadian Institute for Health Information says patients who could be discharged to alternative care end up spending an average of 24 days in hospital inpatient units. That means there's a domino effect. Patients who need admitting to hospital are stuck waiting in ER for a bed to open up.
The Institute says data shows from April of 2024 to March of 25, half of admitted patients had waited in the ER for over 16 hours, and 1 in 10 spent more than 48 hours in the ER. That's often because patients upstairs couldn't be discharged because there was no appropriate follow-up care ready for them. The Institute's Cheryl Chewy says the findings show that improving ER wait times require solutions that look at the entire healthcare system.
The Canadian dollar has steadily fallen over the past several weeks, trading around the 70-cent U.S. mark today. It's down about 4 cents since the month of May. Carl Shimada, who leads Corpay's a currency research group, says the weakness in our loonie is coming from south of the border.
It's essentially being caught in a pincer movement between a slow and weak domestic economy and a U.S. dollar that is crushing all of its global rivals. It's really both forces acting on it at the same time.
Carl says the AI boom is driving more investments to the U.S. as companies turn around higher profits and the U.S. economy performs better than expected. That's all weighing heavily on our loonie. News and culture industry groups want Ottawa to take a stand on how AI systems use copyrighted content.
They want the government to state it will not introduce an exemption to the law allowing the use of copyrighted content to train AI platforms. The call comes after the Liberal government released its long-awaited national AI strategy earlier this month. Questions and lawsuits have swirled for years around AI systems' unauthorized use of copyrighted content, but Ottawa's strategy failed to address the issue. The CEO of News Media Canada says that's troubling to news publishers. Diana Musina, The Canadian Press.
And there could be a Taylor Swift performance coming to the Big Apple, but not the kind you think. It's been the home of the New York Knicks championship run already this year. Now there's possible signs that Madison Square Garden could be the venue for Taylor and Travis tying the knot.
New York City officials tell ABC News an event company has filed a permit requesting closure of the street outside Madison Square Garden from July 2nd to July 4th, a potential sign of planning for a Swift-Kelsey wedding reportedly taking place July 3rd. The official said the permit application also requested permission for an exterior canopy that could be used to conceal comings and goings and listed the size of the event between 500 and 999 people.
Might be a good choice because New Yorkers probably just don't care. That's your news, 8:36. Our CFAX 1070 news poll question: should municipally funded medical clinics be solely for the use of the residents in that neighborhood? About 2/3, 65% saying yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also in the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 8:37.
Thank you, Lisa. We've got rain coming later today in our weather forecast. Right now, it's clouding over. We've got some cooler winds blowing off the Juan de Fuca Strait. They've been blowing all night, blowing away all the humidity. And we're heading towards cooler and wetter conditions. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. But right now, over to CFAX 1070 Sports. Real quick, right off the top, just some local baseball. The Nanaimo Night Owls beating the Victoria Harbour Cats 8-3 yesterday. So that ties up this 3-game island series they're doing, with Victoria taking the first game 2 days ago. Now Night Owls have one. The series will come to an end tonight in Nanaimo. And we'll see who wins. After that, Harbour Cats will engage with the Bellingham Bells for a weekend series in Victoria. And in the majors, Toronto Blue Jays will send right-handed pitcher Kevin Gausman to the mound to kick off a 4-game homestand against the Texas Rangers. There's your baseball. Now over to the World Cup of Soccer, where Canada will face South Africa in the knockout stage at the World Cup on Sunday in Los Angeles. South Africa down South Korea 1-0 yesterday to take second in Group A. And Canada, as we know, finished second in Group B following that 2-1 loss to Switzerland in Vancouver. We still reached the knockout round. It's the first time we've ever done that. We just won't get to play at BC Place Stadium. Again, we go to LA instead. And there's a lot to unpack out of everything that happened yesterday. So we need Sports Guy Steve, or as we're hoping to call him today, Silver Lining Sports Guy Steve.
You got it. I'm there for you, man.
Oh, look, there he is. It's Steve. How you doing, Steve?
Not too bad.
I'm so glad you're here because I've been wanting to talk to you all day about the sports. I've been reading the sports, and all I can think about is I need Steve to weigh in because there's so many things. There's the fact that South Africa is the team we're going to play. Is this a good thing? I hear it might be. There's the whole Alphonso Davies not playing, and was this all a big fake out because the coach says it was? What's going on there? We have so many things to unpack.
And I do have to ask Steve, is it Happy Steve or Grumpy Steve that we're finding this morning?
A little grumpy.
Okay,
A little grumpy.
all right.
Yeah,
Column A, column B.
Well, we're hoping, though, to bring out Silver Linings Sports Guy Steve here.
Okay. And I think I'm there for you.
Okay, cool. If you got any thoughts on the way the game went, text us at 71010 and Steve can answer your questions. But here's the first thing I want to just unpack here as we get into this. Canada's soccer coach, Jesse Marsh, admitting that he wasn't being truthful when he said Alphonso Davies would play in yesterday's 2-1 loss. He said that he was using Davies' status as a decoy, so Switzerland would have to prepare for him, but then not have him and kind of throw off their plans. What do you think about this?
I think it's a nice idea. I'm not so sure the Swiss were all that concerned about it.
Gotcha. They won in the end anyways.
Yeah, because it's hypothetical. The guy hasn't played in a couple of months. He hasn't played with his teammates. I don't mind a little gamemanship from my coach. I kind of look forward to that kind of stuff. But really, in the bigger picture, saying that also makes it clear that why he wasn't on the pitch. And I think that was going to be one of the challenges that Jesse Marsh was going to have to explain to fans is why didn't you use Alphonso?
Yeah, because now everybody was expecting it, and then it didn't happen, and people are like, what happened? And now,
yes, exactly.
And now he says that Davies will be ready for Sunday when Canada faces South Africa, but now I don't know what's true anymore. I don't know if I can believe you, Coach Jesse Marsh.
I think that if they didn't think he was going to be able to help him for the round of 32, they wouldn't have put him on the roster.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if he shows up on Sunday, and we'll talk about Sunday and our opponent, South Africa, and we'll get to your responses too at 7:10:10 in just a moment as we're going to keep this sports going after traffic and weather. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Bluebird Cabs. Need a cab? Download the new Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs Ltd. They're proudly local and Canadian-owned and run since 1946. Texter at 71010 talking about how light the traffic volume is today. Texter says, good morning, Ryan and Lisa. Could traffic be lighter because school is out? Although today is technically the last day, it is kind of voluntary for a lot of students. I think you're probably onto something there, Texter, because, we're seeing much lighter than usual volume delays. Maybe people are taking the day off or you're just not driving the kids to school because school's out. It's that kind of week. It just seems easy going on the roads. Weather-wise, it's not easy going. We got clouds rolling in. Chance of showers this afternoon. Rain overnight tonight and through parts of tomorrow, with temperatures today hitting a high of 21, lows of 12 overnight. And just, generally cooling off. It does look like it dries up for the weekend, though. Oh, the markets, S&P TSX up 170 points at this hour to 34,906. The Dow, after making some humongous gains earlier, was up like 800 points to start the day. Now now up just 493. So starting to see some numbers come back down to earth for the Dow to 52,342. Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US. CFAX Morning Show also brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer.
The lineup in his first offering. Touch them all, Joe. The golden goal.
It's Sports Guy Steve.
Oh, my goodness.
What did you say? You heard me.
Here's Sports Guy Steve. Just a bit outside.
And how could we not get Steve to weigh in on the World Cup results from yesterday? Canada losing to the Swiss 2-1, but moving on to the group stage, to the knockout stage, moving out of the group stage for the first time in World Cup history for our country. Kind of a cool moment, but, with a few things to talk about out of yesterday's results. Steve, thanks again for being here. I got a text here for you. Can I ask you a question from a listener?
Always.
Okay, texter says, Can anything be read into the Canadian coach seen on TV sitting on the grass on the sidelines while we were down 2-0? The commentators sure didn't like it.
You know what? I didn't notice that.
He looked very relaxed and casual, just sort of chill, hanging out while the team was down. And I think some people were like, "What are you doing? It's a big tense moment. How can you be relaxed at a time like this?"
Well, first of all, he has to inspire confidence and non-panic, right? Because you're down to you're in a stadium full of 52 of the 53,000 are cheering for your team. There's some pressure on players with regard to that. I was actually really impressed with the way they came back in the last 15 minutes. So maybe I think sometimes we read too much into coaches' reactions. They usually have a motive behind the way they do things that sometimes we're not privy to, and they would never admit it to you. So not knowing what was really going through his mind there, he might have been just, like I said, I have no idea. That's my honest answer. But he might have been just trying to keep it calm for the guys.
Okay, thanks for the question at 7:10:10. Next question I have for you is South Africa. So that was the thing that kind of emerged out of the later game yesterday, because after Canada lost 2-1 to the Swiss, we knew we were moving on and having to play in LA for the next game on Sunday. We knew we were going, but we didn't know who we would face. The money was on South Korea as the opponent for Canada, but it wasn't a done deal. And then, surprise, South Africa upsets South Korea 1-0 to finish second in Group A, and that books them a ticket to face Canada on Sunday. What do you make of the South Africa matchup? Is this a good matchup for us?
This is good for a number of reasons. So Korea has a very good following, and of course, there are a fair number of Koreans that live in Southern California. So that stadium in Los Angeles, and we've enjoyed it to this point in Vancouver and Toronto, that stadium would have been at least 60 to 70% Korean fans.
So it would have been like a home game for South Korea.
Correct.
Right. So now it's neutral.
Now it's a lot more neutral and probably edges towards more Canadian fans being able to get there. than it was before. So that worked out as well as it could be. And Korea is usually the better team between them and South Africa. I know they lost last night, but the rankings have Korea as one of the more of a advanced squad. So South Africa is ranked around 20. We're ranked around 30. So that's a pretty even matchup, right? I think, one of the things that was going to probably happen was the most likely opponent for Canada, if they had won last night, would have been Belgium. Now, if you give a sports fan a choice between playing South Africa in a one-game winner takes all and playing Belgium, which one do you think are you taking?
I'm thinking we're taking South Africa.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it probably worked out in some ways, but I do think we saw a great job by the fans of BC Place yesterday, trying to lift their team to victory. I thought they did a great job. In the middle of the second half, they all of a sudden had this chants going and stuff. Like the fans, you rocked it. If you went to the game, thank you. You supported your country. You made a difference. So not having that is too bad, but they could still be in the round of 16.
There you go. He's sports guy Steve with a take on the World Cup and where Canada's going. Thank you so much for your time, Steve, and we'll be listening to you on the news later today.
Take care.
And now we got to get to the news. It's 8:49. Sorry, a little late for the news there, Lisa, but take it away.
The council discussing the idea of that non-binding referendum on amalgamation at today's meeting. Saanich has made it official that it will conduct a non-binding vote in October. The question on the ballot will be, again, a simple one. Do you support Saanich and Victoria becoming one municipality? The Citizens Assembly has been working towards the idea of the province, though, as opposed to a binding referendum on the issue. They say there's questions regarding it, and the details involved have to be more specific. World leaders are reacting with offers and solidarity after two powerful earthquakes rocking Venezuela, killing at least 164 people and injuring more than 1,000. Prime Minister Mark Carney says Ottawa will be sending some amount of humanitarian aid to support Venezuelans during this time. The French President Emmanuel Macron says a team of 85 rescue workers from that country specializing in search and clearance operations are being deployed. And Brazil's president says that their country's determination to support the government of Venezuela as well in its recovery efforts moving forward. And Canada is now eligible to participate in the Eurovision Song Contest. This after CBC Radio Canada became a full member of the European Broadcasting Union. In last fall's federal budget, the government said it was looking into getting Canada into that contest. Eurovision has been running for decades, features performers from various countries, and is coordinated by the European Broadcasting Union. That's your news to 8:50.
So did you hear about the CRD launching a garbage audit this month? They're going to be taking a look through the garbage they collect and trying to figure out what kind of stuff are we throwing out. Some people are like, why are you doing that? That's kind of weird. So we've reached out to the Capital Regional District to get a response. What's this all about? What are they hoping to do with it? We're going to talk about that right after traffic and weather. Stand by.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Downtown Victoria is alive with free soccer-themed events, live match screenings, and more. Details at downtownvictoria.ca. Celebrate summer at the 59th Annual Saanich Strawberry Festival, Sunday, July 5th, 11 to 4 p.m. at Beaver Beach at Beaver Lake Regional Park.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX traffic and weather. No crashes or accidents right now, and lighter than usual volume delays. The weather is looking like it's going to get wet today. Chance of showers this afternoon. Periods of rain tonight and through tomorrow, but drying up for the weekend. Right now, we're at 15 degrees in Victoria, heading towards a high of 21.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Let's talk a bit more about one of the stories in the news. The CRD is launching a detailed waste audit across Vancouver Island communities. So this is taking a look at, what we throw out. Let's find out more about it. We got Melanie Tromp-Hoover, Environmental Resource Manager with the Capital Regional District, joining us on the line. Hello, how are you?
Good morning, and thanks so much for having me on the air to chat.
Yeah, so glad to get you here. We've had a few questions about this, so we wanted to follow up and ask, what you're doing and why are you doing it?
Totally fair. The research project that's happening out in our communities right now is what we're calling a waste generator study. And what that really means is that we're taking a look at what types of material are being disposed of right at the point that they're being collected and across all streams of waste. So garbage, organics, recycling, from businesses, from households, recreation center, schools. And this is in addition to the studies that we do right at Heartland Landfill every 3 years where we look at garbage only.
Okay, so you do this kind of thing at Heartland, but now at the bin level, the collection level, this is going to be happening. So what will it look like? What will people see at their bins?
What people might see is a kind of unusual collection time where contractors that we've hired to do the sampling are in neighborhoods collecting material in batches, so nothing is identifiable to a direct household. They'll be out ahead of regular collection trucks, empty bins from all three streams into their vehicle, and then they bring it up to Heartland to secure site to inventory sort and then safely dispose of.
So you're not like looking at one house's garbage and saying, this house threw out this. It's all kind of going into a mix, which will be unidentifiable?
Absolutely. And yes, this project is not in any way about catching mistakes or finding errors or contamination. What we're trying to do is, in understanding how waste is leaving households and businesses, it's been a real missing piece of the puzzle for us at the CRD as we're working towards the goals in our solid waste management plan, which is asking us all to reduce the amount of waste that we send to landfill. We know the residents in our region, they're excellent recyclers. They donate materials all the time for reuse, and the CRD is always being asked to do more to support this work. And this study helps us do that. It's intended to get us that accurate snapshot of what's really left in waste and recycling bins after all that diversion is happening, so the CRD we can improve our programs and our services that are designed to help residents divert more. And it helps us be really specific and really intentional about the collection programs that we promote or that we partner with or that we're directly coordinating.
Like, I'm just trying to get my head around what that could mean. Like, is it like, are people still throwing out kitchen scraps? Are there recycling containers that are still showing up in the garbage? Are those the kind of things you're trying to find out?
Absolutely, that's part of it, where there are those, really well-established, provincial programs to collect those materials. But I think there's other pieces where there's recycling programs maybe established at the depot level that are not coming, that because they're not curbside, those materials may be ending up in garbage. So things like flexible plastic packaging, which, zipper pouches, cereal bags, wrappers, those type of things. It's our understanding textiles is maybe one of those opportunity areas that are still in household garbage in high volumes. Electronics and batteries, again, because they're not picked up directly from your house. Those are the type of materials that have recycling programs established, but maybe aren't being really well used because of accessibility to drop-off locations.
Okay. So this might be a chance to say, hey, decision makers, this stuff's still getting thrown out. We need to do more.
Absolutely.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, I think this makes sense. But the bottom line for people, as we talk to Melanie Tromp-Hoover, Environmental Resource Manager at the CRD, is if you see this unusual collection happening of your garbage, don't worry, you're not going to get singled out or they're not going to be calling you out for something you specifically did. Because I think that's a concern people have had.
Absolutely, yeah, and I understand that feels strange for people. Our waste is really personal to us, even when we don't want it in our homes anymore. But for the purposes of this project, no waste at all is traced to an individual household, and it is not about finding errors. It's about helping us improve the programs and services that we put together for residents so that we can throw away as little as possible.
Hey, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right at the time. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday.